In your glasses, that's all.
Yeah, I had these. Was like this was my the corner piece of my collection. I wanted these, bro. I was waiting on them.
Babe? Yeah. Just the herb.
Take one.
Yeah. The little test shit you did? Yeah. Okay.
Weird.
How's your knee, Shelton?
Bro, oh, I thought you had a Bengals hat. I was gonna be like, bro.
Oh, you looked at my
Yeah, I was like, hold on, nigga, don't be doing that shit. Don't do that shit.
What up, y'all?
It was good, yo. We just a cast of Negroes on the stage.
Y'all can hear us all right?
Mic check, mic 3.
Mic 2. Yep.
Mine's 3.
I ain't gonna get to hear y'all yet.
I'm still listening to that South Rock people.
Bruh.
I be listening to it every now and then.
Really?
Like, okay, like the song with Jack Boy I was listening to.
Yeah.
I was talking with it. The production is what keeps me coming back,
Yeah, bro. You know what's one of the hardest ones to me? Dropped it. When he was talking about dropping lean.
Oh yeah. You did
that was hard.
I like that.
That one was hard. I like Peace Treaties.
I like the whole album.
Bro, the production is just
what is it? What's the Blaze joint? Chopping on Blades. What's the one I sent you? Spike.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
When he's like,
I gotta look at it. It's toward the bottom when you're talking about.
the way he ends it is really nice.
Good pussy. That one.
Good coochie.
Yeah, good coochie.
That's one of them ones on there too.
Yeah, good.
All right.
Soul Itching. Ooh, that's hard. Oh my God, that's hard.
It is, man.
But you know what though, Spike, you like bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, this Chaos is My Ladder, Ransom and V-Don.
It's so ironic. I was in the barbershop and my homeboy was there and he was asking me, do I like Ransom? telling me that it was dude on Joe Budden podcast, brother. And he sent me that song, that exact same song that you talking about.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
crazy. So I gotta listen to it. That's
bro.
the second suggestion in the day. That rarely happens. Like two people.
Oh, it was
tell you
today?
about this. It was
That was,
today,
the same,
bro.
that was the same thing with the Sauce Walker.
Like I
shit.
just left my house.
when you sent it to me, and then
I
Sauce?
am.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. You ain't like it, Ken?
you sent it to me, and then FIFA hit me.
Really?
Up. Yeah.
The same thing happened just today. Like I don't even fuck around something like that. But you the second person to talk about the exact same
Yeah,
song.
bro. Like bar heavy,
Yeah.
like super hard.
I'm definitely gonna tap into that.
Oh, I need to turn on the lights up there. Make sure we good.
Nick, I'm gonna send it to you too. I'm gonna send it right now, bro.
Bodie James had a new one.
No, I need some new music right now. I'm not tapped in.
Y'all like Bodie? He came out today.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that nigga,
That
he
wreck,
said,
he had that wreck. He trying to capitalize. Well, not.
yeah, he said I'm Griselda,
Yeah,
bitch.
right.
Goddamn, I'm dropping every month. Yeah, listen to this on the way home, Nick. This shit hard, bro.
Fuck with it.
This shit hard.
All right. We got a lot to talk about.
Lord Jesus,
Man, oh man.
Lord and Lord and Lord.
Oh. That's just my water bottle.
You got two of them.
Yep, I do. My
One for lean and one for
Double cupped up, depending on what kind of night it is, but
water bottled up.
cupped up.
how we sound? We good across? We good everywhere? I know I didn't get a chance to check my mic, so it should be fine. All right. This is the place where sports opinions collide. Dead in Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth B. Ince. Joining me on the show, we have Nick.
What's going on? What's happening?
We have Spike Lou.
What up, though?
Shelton.
What's happening?
And he's back, y'all, after 2 weeks. Welcome back, bro.
24/7, man, all day, every day.
Yep. We may have some special guests tonight.
Everybody coming in tonight.
Yeah,
bro.
man. Yeah.
It's like
Playoffs, bro.
This is like
Take
what-
the
what-
Cowboys to lose for everybody. The whole ensemble want to come on. Everybody got to be
I was like,
there.
remind me. Remember when
The
Martin had his
Cowboys.
birthday? And all the random niggas came in like, I ain't know you do, Martin.
I say we need neither one of them. Both their teams suck.
They don't got no time throughout the whole year. We got a whole group chat with all these niggas, and they want to come
How
today.
you want to be?
Yeah,
They
so
came last week when they were still in it.
yeah, 12 Kyle and Manny. Manny says he got some things to say, and we haven't heard from the OG in a minute. So I just let them know we live. They got everything they need. So they should be joining us hopefully soon. And yeah, so I think everything should work fine in terms of getting them us to be able to hear them. So anyway, but yeah, man, this is the recap of the divisional round, which featured the Bengals versus the Bills versus the Niners, and the Chiefs versus the Jaguars. And who am I missing?
The
Eagles and Giants.
That
Eagles and
wasn't
Giants.
a game to remember.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
We can,
yeah, it
we,
was.
I'm gonna let Kyle talk about the Giants part. I guess he'll talk about that. So we don't even really need to talk about that. I know Q over here talking about some Giants fans come out and play. Like, nah, nigga, we ain't doing that today. We knew what it was. We were happy to be there. You know what I'm saying?
All coaches a successful
You
season.
should you
no,
should have told them. You
It's
should have told the media.
to me, for the season to be a success is this offseason. How do we handle trying to pay Daniel Jones and or Saquon Barkley?
Well, Saquon getting the bag.
I don't think so.
Mm.
I
You
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so? He's
The
not.
way the GM was talking, bro.
Well, he said he's not going to ask for it. He's asking.
He
for
did.
That's what he
That's
said.
crazy. Now,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's what he
Yeah.
said.
Them not giving them to him is one thing, but him saying I'm not gonna ask for it.
He's not asking for
Why?
$10 million a year.
Right.
That's
Why?
what he's saying. Because he's been injury prone
Stop.
at the position that everybody say is disposable.
That's crazy. If he can get $10 million a year, he should go get $10 million a year.
Ain't
Ain't no hometown
somebody would give
discounts.
that to him.
Yeah, like he can get that.
He could get that in the
No
open market,
problem.
bro.
Or does he want to win? Is he trying to win?
But with the Giants,
He got to the divisional round.
They've been assigned Daniel Jones to a long-term contract.
Then I hope
Bro,
it's not
they
that
about
long. I told you it needs to be. I
They
hope,
need to franchise.
here's what I want to do. Here's what
That's
I hope.
$45 million.
No, I don't. It's not 45. It's
It
like
It
38.
is 45.
It's like 38.
It's 45
No, it's
million
45.
next year.
because
The cap go
Oh, it's
up, it don't
38. It
matter.
was 38 this
Yeah.
year. Next year is different.
That's
Okay.
45 million.
Oh.
You giving Daniel Jones 45 million.
I wouldn't.
for 1 year.
I would give him
I
a
would.
3-year, or I'll give him a 2-year, $70 million contract, and then I'll give Saquon a 3-year or a 2-year, $30 million contract, both fully guaranteed. That's only $100 million that I'm spending in my quarterback and running back position. Both, well, one is super elite, one is super high.
Why would I take that if I'm them though? Like, why would I take a short
money?
Term deal?
You getting paid as Saquon, you getting paid $15 million a year guaranteed, and Daniel Jones, you getting at least the
So
franchise.
You
tag.
guarantee a short contract.
Yeah, both of them.
That ain't bad.
But they're not gonna take it. But we'll get into that when Kyle gets here. This is an Honest Take Tuesday. Ken, did you introduce the show? This is
I did. We good, bro.
Okay, this is an Honest Take Tuesday. All right. There's a lot of shit that we're gonna have to come to terms with this on this day. I'm glad you're here, FIFA. That's why I kept asking you, gonna be here. Because there's some shit I'm gonna direct towards you as well. But the first one, I know you. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this game. This is America's team. This was they ended the whole divisional round with this. We're gonna start. We ain't gonna bury the lead. Cowboys versus 49ers in San Francisco.
Glock Purdy.
He looked a lot like Jimmy G. You know what I'm saying? He had a Jimmy G stack. So you remember that stat I told y'all?
Yeah.
When Jimmy G don't throw an interception or a touchdown, they're like 10-2.
That Dallas
Yeah,
defense
we
tough,
in that
bro.
game.
That Dallas defense tough. Though.
That Dallas defense should have won the game.
He ain't ready for
I
niggas.
wanted them to win the game based on that defense. I love seeing good defense. But let's talk about this team. Let's talk about this game. And I'm glad we got a representative from the Cowboys.
The reasonable Cowboys fan. So I'm gonna give you the honest truth.
That means you gonna throw it. He
Since
throwing
they try
Dak
to-
under the bus.
Since they try to
He got
label
that-
reasonable
he
all
got-
season.
Hey, Sean,
They
he got
try
Dak
to-
under a bus right now.
Yes.
They try to
And
label
he cranking it up.
Cowboys fans as unreasonable. I'm here on our
All right,
platform
let me
to
ask
be
you
the
this
guy.
question. Who should the Cowboys move on from after this loss to the 49ers? If possible, because we know they won't. But should it be Dak or McCarthy? They can't also because Dak cap is too much in McCarthy.
Right. So if we speak of the hypothetical,
Yeah.
it would be Dak for me. And the reason being, we've seen the ceiling of Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Like, this is as good as he's going to get.
Mhm.
I seen Mike McCarthy also win a Super Bowl. Maybe if he has better talent or different pieces in place, then he could win another one. So I'm not coming into the season, I wanted him to prove to me that he was able to coach us up to the standard of being able to compete for a Super Bowl. And he got to that level this year. The team was at least able to be competitive with the 49ers, who were one of the better teams in football. Had he had a quarterback that could fucking play football, then maybe they would have won
Spike,
the game.
how did you feel about that contract a couple years ago for that?
I wanted him to prove it. I was,
But you were okay with it?
No, absolutely not. I would have rather them done the Kirk Cousins route and made him prove it each year, to be honest with you. Even if they had to pay him the franchise tag every year, I would have rather had him on a short-term deal, because Dak never really proved that he could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Well, you know what's interesting, right? Like, he had less turnovers in his rookie year than he has like in the subsequent years. And the roster around him has been pretty damn good. You know, they've always had talent either in the backfield or on the outside, right? And the O-line hasn't always been amazing, but it's always been at least solid.
Right.
So he's had a lot. Defense has always been a bit spotty. This year, the last 2 years, they had a pretty good defense with Michael coming on, you know, and he followed it up his sophomore year, Trayvon Diggs,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there's certain quarterbacks, and Nick, this is why I always said Dak is like barely average to me, because this is the type of game that an above average quarterback wins, because there's certain plays in the game that you got to make. Like, I've seen this guy step up in the pocket and it looked like a bad throw, but if you would have thrown it further to the left and down, that could have been a first down.
We just seen Josh Allen do that. We just seen Josh Allen do that last week when he threw that little behind the back pass. It was halfway sidearm and went right behind the dude's ear hole. You make a great point. Dak Prescott never shows up when, like, he's never a difference maker. He can be there and be great, like we saw last week with Tampa Bay. That's his ceiling. That's cool. That's the ceiling for Dak Prescott. But if you're talking about, hey, bro, go win this game for us, he can't do that, because he don't depend on what makes him different, and that would be him being mobile, running the ball. He like 6'4", whatever. He a big guy. Be a tough quarterback versus what you think people want to see a quarterback. Jumping around, moving 4 or 5 pumps, then you're throwing it late and it's an interception because you're doing things that people want you to do.
This man missed 5 weeks and led the league in INT. 5 weeks.
We gonna get to a lot of that. You go ahead, Ken. I feel like I know you.
What up, Kyle? What up, man?
What up? What's good? What's happening? What's cracking?
What's good?
I want to get to the guest first before I get to you, Shelton.
We ain't no damn guess, man.
This ain't the bench. This the council. This the council.
No, I'm just saying when we need them to come in, they you know what I'm saying, they run the op.
Well, Kyle, I want to start with you.
Mhm.
The question is, who should the Cowboys move on from after their loss from the 49ers, if they could, between Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy?
It's easy. Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is not. He's an average coach. He coached Aaron Rodgers and he won a Super Bowl, but he's not a difference maker. I just heard what you were saying about Dak, and some of what Spike Lee was saying is semi-accurate, but Dallas still had a pretty good record this season. And so I can't put it all on Dak, even though Dak's never been that type of player to you just hand him the ball and say, hey, get me 300 yards. He's never been that type of player. He's done it before, but you can't ask him to do that in games. I don't know what Kellen Moore is doing. That's the person who probably they should be getting rid of, Kellen Moore. But Dallas, they are a decent team. They have a lot of talent, but Mike McCarthy never coaches up the talent. So he should be the one to go. He's not going anywhere. But to answer your question, he should be the one to go.
But you know what, Kyle? I definitely think it should be McCarthy. And the main reason why is the Giants. We saw the impact of good coaching. We saw it week 1. Them boys look like a whole different team, but it's still the same Danny Dimes. It was still the same mediocre talent on the outside. Great coaching moves the needle. and when you have a guy like that everybody watch it. Y'all already know how hard I've been on Dak because this dude has never shown me that, first of all, he was worth the money or he had the talent. Like, what's special about him?
I don't think now's a good time to bring up the Giants, bro. After what happened.
That was a talent gap.
The Giants, they don't match up with Philly. I mean, Philly blew them out in the regular season, so blowing them out in the playoffs wasn't a surprise.
Yeah. What y'all saying about McCarthy is true, but the Jerry Jones ain't going nowhere. And that's the main thing that you guys and everybody, the Cowboys critics will always say is Jerry, the general manager and owner, doesn't work. So there's not a lot of coaches that are going to come in and do what, like Mike McCarthy is the best you're going to get that's willing to put up with Jerry Jones, in my opinion, for now. So if you can kill him more, he should take fool's gold and run to Carolina and be a head coach and get another offensive coordinator that maybe can make Dak better, help him use his legs, build a better offense around him. Because I don't think the Kellen Moore's offense is actually what Dak Prescott is good at.
You know what? And we're gonna get to Manny.
Get to Manny. Yeah,
we're gonna get to Manny. But it's not about the play call or even play design. It's the turnovers. It's the same thing that killed Jameis Winston when he threw however many turnovers.
30 for 30.
30 for 30. And then when you look at, again, I'm using the Giants because to me that was the team that didn't change much personnel-wise, changed the coach, and they made the playoffs.
But that's the point. Like, Dak can't compete in that offense.
No. But it's not even about competing in the offense. It's about limiting turnovers. That's the biggest difference with Danny Dimes last year and his whole career up until this year.
Because you're trying to do something he's not good at.
Well, let Manny, what say you on that question?
Which one of these two men has won a Super Bowl? Right, Mike McCarthy. Like, going back to the beginning of this whole situation, like I've been listening to y'all, and I'm like, why is everybody surprised that this was the outcome? Like, when people show you who they really are, you believe them. Like, Dak has shown us who he's been his entire career. Like, why are we surprised? Why are we shocked? Like, we blame Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett's gone. We blame the offensive line. We blame Zeke. We blame this guy. We blame this coach, this team, this injury, that, mental illness. We blame his brother dying. We blame this. We blame and I'm just saying that for a fact. I'm not making fun of the issue or whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, Dak's running out of excuses. Like, at some point, if I'm paying you $35 million a year, you're 9-9 in a fourth quarter game in a divisional round. That's a game you got to win against Brock Purdy. I'm sorry. Like, I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of Mike McCarthy. People forget Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl. That counts. Like they don't just hand those out. He won a Super Bowl. Now, you can sit here and say he's not this, he's not that. I get it. I understand that. But the guy has won a Super Bowl. Could have won another Super Bowl with Brett Favre if Brett Favre didn't become Brett Favre against the Giants way back when. Like, so this idea that Dak is being held back, I just don't buy it.
Sean, what about you? How much blame should Dak or McCarthy get for this loss?
I say if you're gonna go that route, it's to hell both of them. And
yeah,
I understand what everybody's saying about McCarthy winning the Super Bowl, but You know, I'm more of the elk of what have you done for me lately. We saw him do it with a quarterback that was probably one of the best to ever do it. And I'm not saying that it's easy to win those because you're right, man. They don't hand those out. But at the same time, it's something that you can do. You can reach the pinnacle and still not be that great. You know, you catch fire, you can do anything. We've seen it happen. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. But
Sheldon, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Sheldon, real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Did they lose that game because of Mike McCarthy?
Well, they lost the game because of Dak. And that's why I said both. If you notice, I said both. I was going to get to the Dak part. I was. But Mike McCarthy is a part of that too. He's a part of that too.
But what more do you want him to do though? Last year we lost that game because of bad time management or whatever it may be.
That's coaching.
The defense was terrible.
Yep.
This year you cut down on the penalties. You have one of the top defenses in the league. When Dak goes out for 5 weeks, you still are able to maintain the ship. Even when Dak comes back and he's turning the ball over, you're still winning football games. What do you want Mike McCarthy to do?
I just want to see consistency across the board from the whole team. And like I said, and you're right, it was an improvement from the year before for Mike McCarthy, but I just don't think he's the answer in Dallas. I just don't. They don't need a yes man. They need Jerry Jones. What they really need, we all know what they need. They need him to kind of step back and allow somebody else to take the reins. That would be ideal. But
that's the answer to the question.
That ain't gonna happen.
The answer to the question is to get Jerry Jones
out of there.
Then you can get a good coach in there that's willing to do it.
Right.
That's the answer to the
question.
Then
you get a quarterback. But you're right, and that's what I was gonna say. If you look at what Cooper Rush was able to do to limit those turnovers, like you said, we got a whole nother conversation we having.
Cooper Rush fits in your boy's offense.
And I'm not saying get Cooper Rush as your quarterback. I'm saying if you,
he's not.
That's what they gonna say.
He's not the quarterback.
That's what they
see. I'm
he's
not
the
say
quarterback.
Dallas Twitter gonna put that out.
No, he's not the quarterback, but he does fit in that offense.
Ken, what about you?
Right.
Who's getting more blame? Who should get more blame?
You see that last play?
The last three plays.
Somebody said
that's it. I'm
somebody
sorry.
said that may be
just a play. You're right.
That may be Zeke's last time in a Cowboy uniform with his hand with his back on the grass.
What was we watching?
It's the last play of the game, and that's you call that. You put Zeke against a big ass defense.
What's more funny is the press conference when they asked the like, what was going on in that last play? He couldn't say shit.
Like McCarthy said, clearly the wrong play was gone.
You you got to give yourself anything could have happened. You throw the ball up, PI, whatever. You just never know in those games. I think it was a failure on definitely on Mike McCarthy and Dak. You know,
but who should get more blame?
Shit, man. Didn't you say Bo?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm with Shelton, bro. Dak threw 2 unforgivable picks. One tipped. One was tipped, and it ran into Fred Warner.
He had about 3 other ones that was dropped.
Oh, it hit the Niners 40 player. Okay, but never mind. Yeah,
he didn't catch it.
Yeah, the first one, like Kyle said in the chat, was a bad read. And bro, you got outplayed by a 7th round pick named Glock Purdy, who was running for his fucking life in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't ever had that many black men chasing him at one time, bro. He didn't know what.
He didn't know what was going on.
He didn't know what because he tried to run away.
Bro,
he looked back, he's like, they still here.
The crazy thing about the 49ers is everything is so great about them, but this position. Yet, because it plays the most important part of the game, you notice some shit. Like he almost didn't get them a field goal. Remember, it was like he almost did. He threw the ball with 1 second left for the first half. And I'm like, bro, that's points.
Yeah,
in a game where points are premium.
But unlike Dak, he stepped up.
He didn't fuck up.
He didn't fuck up.
He made the throws when he needed them.
Yep. He needed that one drive, and he got some help. Kittle made a hell of a catch.
Kittle was about to get his head blown off.
Yeah, you know, on that tip.
That was almost a DeMar. Like, let's keep it real, bro. He almost got his head blown off.
Kittle a big guy though. He probably
And then it was another pass. I just been watching him play, and it was one pass. I think it was like before the end of that 2-minute warning. He zipped that pass, and I was like, oh. Purdy feeling himself now. He got his confidence back up.
Almost, if he was his brother, he would have caught it.
Yeah, that's why he's on the defense.
I'm done with him, Lou.
You done with that?
I'm done with that, bro.
He was just ready to say that shit. He was ready for it.
Hey, I'm done with him because Ken, I went against my number 1 rule, or one of my rules. I know I got a lot. After a nigga get paid, I don't care about you. I cared about the nigga after he got paid. I was vouching for him, Lou. I said he couldn't be trash because I do agree that he's not trash because you don't win 12 games back to back with a trash quarterback. At least in my eyes, based on what he's done with his stats and all that shit, he's not trash. But he ain't the dude. He ain't the dude. And I told y'all earlier in the season, I said at the beginning of the season, what I say, I was like, bro, this is the year. He got to get to the NFC title game. There's no question. And I felt like he would. He got the Brady hump over his, like he crossed that bridge. He played phenomenal. He just needed one more of those games. If he even had half of what he had in that last game, they win this game. But he shit the bed. When I saw the first pick, I was like, all right, Sheldon, he got it. Oh, I say in the chat, he got it out the way. He got it out of the system. We good. It was that second one. I was like, oh, we in trouble. Yeah. And then Tony P went out.
And they were driving.
That's what it was. That's what it was. He is the most dynamic player. Like, even what's his name? The defensive coordinator for the 49ers is like, bro, this week's game plan was we thought about him. He was the main one that we thought about.
He the best player that we have on offense.
Yeah. He's the Debo.
Absolutely.
That's the
CeeDee
Lamb is good.
CeeDee Lamb has stepped up.
But yeah, he stepped up since
CeeDee Lamb
since I came on here and said he won the number one.
Yeah, he been balling.
He heard it. He heard it.
However, the most explosive person is somebody could just give you 6 points out of nowhere. Yeah. That's Tony Pollard. And moving forward, that's one of the bigger things. Him breaking that leg or ankle or whatever.
And he a free agent.
This is a contract year. So that's rough.
He coming back to Dallas underpaid.
And like I said,
who knows if he's gonna be the same?
Yeah, that's true. And that was truly the difference in that game because he'll get you 12, 15 yards when you need it out of nowhere.
Bust out of nowhere.
And they have more rushing yards. Or they have more rushing plays with him there because they're more dynamic.
And it's over.
Zeke,
it's over.
He's that Debo Samuel. Zeke is when Zeke got paid. That's when it ended for him. That's why I'm scared.
Shit, it was that damn white girl.
I told you. He
ain't been right since.
He was going off the top.
We got historical data.
Same old Ken, boy. Same old Ken.
He was the top stack like a banana, boy. They got him fucked up.
What up, Q?
What up?
Q, what up, man?
What's good, yo? What's good?
All right, Q, I'm gonna throw this to you before we go to your game because I don't really give a fuck about talking about it. Is Glock Purdy the franchise starter for the 49ers after this win?
No, you gotta see next week, man. Like he could really you gotta see next week. Games? You gotta see by next week. If he looks okay next week, they're probably gonna rock with him in going into the season. If he get his ass whooped next week, like if it's like what we did to the Vikings, what Case Keenum, because Glock Purdy could still be Case Keenum of this year. You know what I mean? Every NFL season has one of these dudes. It was Geno, in my opinion, this year, and we're gonna see what that does next year. But you know what I'm saying, Glock Purdy. I'm not first of all, I'm not feeling the narrative that y'all putting on Dak right now because it seems a little bit lazy to me. I mean, if I'm gonna be real with you, can we please look at the Cowboys schedule? Who the fuck did they play?
Ooh,
who did they play this year? Who did they play
this
year?
The Eagles, didn't they?
I mean, shit. And we whooped their ass, and then who did they
lost one?
And we lost one to who? Gardner Minshew, please. Like, don't even do that.
We had our backup in when we lost to y'all too.
The L's to the Buccaneers. All right, cool. You got a W. The best win y'all had this season was against the Bengals. Mm-hmm. Everything else, who you playing? The Lions, the Bears, the Commanders, the Colts, the Texans, the Jags. That was an L.
The Commanders beat the Eagles.
The Titans. Where the Eagles at and where the Cowboys at?
But Q, you can only play who's on your schedule.
An observation, Q.
You can only pick. And if you look at Dak's record, Dak Prescott is his playoff record is 2-4. He's 0-3 in the divisional round. Same record as Tony Romo, 2-4 in the playoffs, 0-3 in the divisional round. You got to get it done when at money time. This was money time, and he didn't get it done.
And I feel that, but to me, the issues are Kellen Moore, is Jerry Jones, and it's like we have to talk about Dak because that's the only thing that's gonna change. They're not getting rid of Mike McCarthy, but they should, and that should be domino number one. Like in my opinion, in a whatever type of multiverse of madness world on some Doctor Strange shit, this whole team gets reoriented, and a nigga like the dude for San Francisco 49ers, the defensive coordinator, he should be coaching this team next year, but he's not gonna be.
Let me ask you a question.
What I'm saying?
Does that make Dak better? If DeMarco Ryans is the quarterback of the Cowboys next year, can I depend on Dak not to throw 3 interceptions in the divisional round?
Here's the thing, though. Why? See, we're talking about Glock Purdy. Is Dak Prescott not better than him?
No.
He's not better than Glock Purdy. Okay.
This is what I'm saying.
Now we're doing this.
Don't do that, bro.
Now we're doing this. Now we're doing this.
You said some shit.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Dak Prescott.
I can't stand next to that.
We saw what Cooper Rush point was. They were, and that they jumped like 10 points.
Yeah,
that's a difference.
They're about the same, bro.
Let me say this:
when Brock Purdy was at Iowa State, they said something this weekend. He had to be the best player on the field every game for them for 4 years. Dak probably wasn't never the best player on the field for Mississippi State.
Yes, he was, bro. He was a dog.
I don't agree with you on that. He was the best player on Mississippi State. He was.
Let me make this one point.
He never been a dog.
Let me make this one point, and this point is for you because you're the one that said it earlier this year. When Dak was out, I don't know if you recall this conversation, but you said you were afraid that when he came back, McCarthy was going to make the same mistakes by calling a different game than he did when Dak was out. That's what he did.
I said Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. Right. That's what they did. They did exactly what you feared. So when they did it, of course, it affected things. It's not Dak. It's his coaching. So if they called a different game, if they managed him a little differently, then maybe you get different results. I'm not saying he gonna throw no picks.
But who wants to pay a quarterback $40 million that you got to manage? And
but that's just the going rate. But that's just the going rate. That's just the economics of the game. Right. That has nothing to do with his talent. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, hold on. So
yeah, that does that.
Yeah, if that's the economics, then how can you say that Brock Purdy is going to be the starter over Trey Lance when they gave up 3 first-round picks? Well, I don't see that happening. What is Trey Lance? You don't know what Trey Lance is.
No, you just made my point.
Like RG3 and Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? Where they drafted RG3 first. Kirk, like if you struggle 2 games, we're gonna yank you. You're gonna be on a short leash. But Trey Lance is starting, dog.
I don't think so. I think Trey Lance.
If anything, you just made my point because Glock Purdy is a much cheaper option. You can trade Trey Lance. Somebody's going to take pedigree over whatever the fuck they've seen on the field. Glock Purdy's right here. You can pay him probably $10 million for a 2-year deal, and he's going to take that because who the hell were you? You were third-string QB. You were nobody. It's similar to the Kaepernick situation a couple years ago when Alex Smith got unseated. This ain't new for San Francisco. So what I'm saying is they're talking about paying Daniel Jones. This ain't nothing to do with the actual talent. This is economics. Dak Prescott could be a talented QB in a different system. Kyle Shanahan is making Glock Purdy look good. You mean to tell me that if he doesn't have an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded coach that really plays up like on some Seattle, what the LOB did, that he can't be Russell Wilson? Get him a running back. Get him another Hall of Fame tight end. Get him somebody who's not CeeDee Lamb trying to masquerade as a number 1. He's not. He's a number 2 masquerading as a number 1. Get Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper's gone. Kellen Moore is calling a bullshit offense, and now we gonna blame the black man again. Like he not an average. This is what we're doing. The energy here on the show the last couple of weeks been weird. So I'm here to bring some quarterback.
That's been mediocre.
Let Manny respond. You got something to say, Manny?
Nah. So Q, you're not wrong. Your overall point, you're not wrong. My issue with this, you said it's the economics of the game. No, it's the need of the position, right? Like, so you have a situation where quarterback is the most important position in all of sports, right? There's only so many great quarterbacks out there. So if you even have an average one, you're going to pay for that average quarterback high value because that position is irreplaceable. Because what are your options? This is what kills me, right? Everybody says get rid of Dak. And I just came on the show and criticized Dak. But what is the option outside of Dak? If you're telling me I'm getting Peyton Manning circa 2002, then great. Dak can go. But you're not getting that. So what is the option? You either stay with Dak and hope that you build a good enough team around him, put enough pieces around him, which we could argue the Cowboys have or haven't done, or you can take a swing in the draft, see if you get lucky, and find another Brock Purdy type that could come in and maybe be a better fit. But we all know that shit is not going to happen. So I laugh sometimes because people say like, oh, well, the economics of the game. No, it's the need of the position. Like quarterback is so important that you're going to have to pay. So Daniel Jones is going to capitalize on the fact that he's Daniel Jones. He's an average to above average quarterback.
And he's white.
But but then what are the options for the Giants? The Giants are not going to pick.
That's what I mean. And that's
like,
what I
who
mean.
are they going to get? They're not getting Bryce Young.
But this is what I mean, fam. Let's break it down for simple terms. Y'all go to the market right now. Y'all paying how much for eggs? Same shit here. $6-7. It's damn near $10.99. Y'all going to paying how much for gas? Where else are you going to go?
I'm stealing
that's what I mean by the economics of the game. It ain't got nothing to do with talent no more, dog. It's all about who is shown to be at least above average, and can you strong arm your organization to be like, we have nowhere else to go. So, okay, cool. Go to Walmart. Try to get eggs for $8.99. Go to Publix. It's gonna be $7.99. But it's inflation, bro. The price is the price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So when you talking about Daniel Jones, he gonna get $10, $15 million, $20 million a year, because that's just where they're gonna go. How can you turn that down? Because you're like, okay, cool. We gonna trade him or we gonna cut him? Where do you go? The Giants ain't been this cool since 2011. Lil Wayne was the best rapper alive since the last time the Giants was dope.
And that's why Lamar Jackson has all of the leverage in his
inflation.
Kyle, since we're on, hold on.
Absolutely.
Since we're on the Giants right now, we got a Giants insider. Kyle, question for you before we go talk about the Eagles. Does this blowout loss to the Eagles mean the Giants season was a failure?
No, because if you look at the beginning of the season, the Giants were predicted to win 4 to 5 games. You had a new coach, new GM. You had a running back who's a stud when healthy, hadn't even had a full, completed season. And there were still question marks about Jones and his ability to hang on to the football. Turnovers was his biggest thing. And you have a new coach come in, change the whole culture, and they make the playoffs in a, very tough NFC East. So it wasn't a failure at all. I mean, really, for the Giants to get where they got, and for one, to make the playoffs, and then to beat the Vikings the way that they beat the Vikings. I mean, going into Philly, they were playing with house money. If they could keep the game close, you had a little bit of confidence that maybe they could. But if you saw game 1 and game 2 when they played Philly, anybody that knows football knew that the Giants they didn't match up well. And I was telling you guys that in the chat. Like, they didn't match up well with Philly. And most teams don't, but the talent gap is tremendous. But, Jones is going to he's not going to hit free agency. He's going to re-sign, and I think probably they'll franchise Saquon. So you got your running back, you got your coach, you got your GM. Now you have to put the pieces around it.
Should they draft a QB still this upcoming offseason?
No, because I'm pretty confident that they're going to sign Jones. If they don't sign him, they'll franchise tag him. Because he's done enough for them to keep him. The thing is, with quarterbacks, even to what Q was just saying, you can't just play and plug. You have to make sure that your scheme fits, the quarterback that you have, which is why I, even as a Cowboy hater, am very frustrated watching Dallas, because Kellen Moore, I don't know what Kellen Moore is thinking about. Dak Prescott isn't the quarterback that you want throwing the ball 40 times a game. He's got 2 stud running backs, and they insist on throwing the ball 40 times a game. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It should be more ball control, more kind of game manager-ish. But, Dak got the contract, so I guess they want to put up his stats. I don't know. But, to answer your question, I think the Giants the season wasn't a failure at all. This was actually a great season when you consider that they weren't expected to do anything.
That frustrates me, though, because we talk about Dak a lot, not just us. It's throughout media and throughout everything. Everybody talks about Dak keeping his job. But what did Daniel Jones do? I'm trying to figure out what all he did, because all I knew was he threw 15 touchdowns in 16 games. But
Daniel Jones had a really good season, and you gotta look at the talent that was around him. Like, his quote unquote number 1 receiver got hurt, the number 2 receiver got hurt at the end of the year, man. I mean, like, one of their best receivers was a guy that they had on their practice squad.
I agree with that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, when you're able to make something out of nothing, which is what they did with their receiver core, I think that says a lot about. And you see flashes of like you just said, Jones can be average to above average. He's not going to be a guy that you give the ball and say, "Hey, go get me 350 and 4 touchdowns." That's not him. But then they also don't have that type of offense either. So you got to kind of compare apples to apples when you're talking about these quarterbacks and their skill sets and everything like that.
That's what I'm saying. So to me, he never reaches above average. He's never been that. He never will be. You know,
but what is the replacement?
He had a couple games that he played decent in, but like Jay-Z said, you made a hot line. Other QBs making it a hot song. He's not doing it.
But you're not getting those other QBs. Though.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not that guy, and he's proven that he's not that guy. We all.
But Shelton, in that offense, he doesn't have to be. That's the point that we're making. In Dallas's offense, they want Dak to be that guy, and these last 7 years have shown that he's not that guy. Not for what they try to do. So you have to change something. You either got to change the coach, you got to change the coordinator, you got to change something. Dak's not going anywhere just because of his contract. So what gives?
Let me move on to within this game because we got an Eagles representative. I'll toss it all to y'all too as well. But Q,
what's good?
You've been talking hella shit about Jalen Hurts ever since you got drafted by the Eagles. And I haven't said nothing, Ken. I've been noticing the way he texts, the way he responds, where he calls out certain things about the Eagles and shit. He's been defending Jalen Hurts a little bit this year too. So are you now sold on Jalen Hurts as your franchise quarterback moving forward?
I said that after week 5. I don't know if people remember, but I came on the show. I came on the show.
You ain't never said week 5.
Roll the tape. Roll the tape. Roll the tape.
My guy, but I don't know about that one.
No, roll the tape. All facts. And people in the chat who know. I said after week 5, I was like, I've seen enough. Because I've seen the improvement as a passer. I've said it in multiple chats. I've seen the improvement as a passer. I've seen the improvement as a cerebral thinker, and they built the offense around him. Everyone was trying to say for weeks, oh, Gardner Minshew can come in and do the exact same thing. Gardner Minshew came in, looked like shit. Jalen Hurts is the system in Philadelphia. Like, he has people who believe in him. I literally came on the show and said, I'm wrong. I'm 100% wrong. And I was wrong as hell. And honestly, this man, Jalen Hurts, has the potential to be probably the greatest 180 story in NFL history at QB. Real shit. I mean, I don't know why somebody's laughing who's not in the playoffs, but that's funny right now. I mean, that's funny.
Spicy.
That's funny because I'm about to have 2 of them things. That's all I know.
Shabazz ready, baby.
That's all I know.
Q Shabazz ready.
People, we ain't heard from you in a minute. How you feel about the Eagles after that blowout win?
They look like they looked all season. You know what I'm saying? Obviously they're humans. You know, sometimes you got a couple missteps. You might have a bad quarter or bad game here and there, but for the most part, they've been dominant all year. And I think we were putting a lot of stock into Jalen Hurts' feet. And I feel like that is what makes them different, you know what I'm saying, versus all the other teams in the league. But against the Giants, he showed, hey, I could throw this thing. I could really throw this thing. And, you know, he's had games that
he showed that in that game?
Yeah.
He could throw that thing?
He could throw. Hey, you know, first time in franchise history, they have over 2 1,000-yard receivers in the same season. Somebody got to get them the ball for them to get the yards.
You know how much you got to average, Ken, 1,000 yards as a wide receiver, or a wide receiver to get 1,000 yards?
I think just to get about, it's not a lot.
60 yards, 50, 60 yards.
They say the mic a little closer.
Okay. But it's still 2 of them. It's not just one of them. You know what I'm saying? And it's first time in franchise history. So to me, Jalen Hurts is just continuing to write the book as to why they need to pay him and why he is a franchise quarterback, because we have seen an improvement year after year after year. And to say no, that's being short-sighted.
Should he get at least Lamar Jackson money?
Lamar Jackson not even getting Lamar Jackson.
No. Because he about to get paid. We talking about a lot of niggas about to get paid this offseason. I hope y'all know that.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though, Nick. It's all about.
So is he Joe Burrow money?
He's gonna get paid. Like,
but he's gonna get
when
paid.
it's his time up, he's gonna get paid.
His time is now. He gets paid. He's it's this offseason.
What's the whole?
No, Nick. You know his contract isn't up yet, Nick.
Because
I thought he could get paid.
He's going to get paid.
He can
going to get paid now.
He can be extended, but with the TV deals coming up, they're not gonna. It would be in his best interest to wait right now because
it'll be in his best interest to wait. But
it'll be in his. But yeah, the team's gonna try to do something. But everybody's watching Lamar because if Lamar gets the guaranteed money that he's looking at, you got Burrow coming up in 2 more years, and then you got the kid out in L.A. Chargers, Herbert. Yeah.
They're looking at Burrow, and he's going to get Burrow money, and rightfully so. And the reason being,
I don't know about rightfully so.
Rightfully so. What you're looking at, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna answer.
Burrow money?
Yes. Yeah. What you're looking at right now is you're trying to say this player's this player's that. It ain't about that. It's the value of that player to that team and what they bring to the table with that team. When you look at that player at that team, what he brings to the table means everything. You talk about his passing.
You think Jalen Hurts?
Let's go back to that game. You was asking about that game because I know what you was getting at.
What game?
You said, did he show you he could throw it in that game?
Yeah.
The first quarter of that game, when the game mattered, when it was on the line, he was what, 7 for 7? Did you see the first quarter? He didn't need to do nothing else. That was it. At that point, they say we're in cruise control. Just don't get hurt.
So one drive means that he's a great thrower.
That was 2 drives when they was up 14-0. At 14-0, we know we're gonna win this game. We know this game right here is in hand. Control this game, manage the game for the rest of the game. Do what we need to do to win. And that's exactly what he does. He does whatever it takes to win games. If you need him to throw, he's gonna throw for 300. 380 at that. He can get up there. But if you need him to run, he's gonna run it. Whatever he needs to do is what he does. And it's worked so far.
And you think, based off what he's done in just one season, he deserves Joe Burrow?
Combination of two, because if you watch his improvement down the stretch last year too, it came to this point.
Okay.
So you've seen a gradual.
And we saw what Burrow did last year too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
once again, you're comparing the two players.
No, I'm saying, but if we're talking about the money amount,
yes,
it got to be similar.
It's the importance to the team. You
Yeah,
take
it's like what Q was saying. Everything that Q just said about the economics of the quarterback position is going to apply to Jalen Hurts.
Correct. You take each one of them out the lineups for their teams, and neither team is the same. Correct.
Yeah,
we saw that.
If I'm the Eagles, it's in my best interest to pay him as much as the Bengals are going to play Jalen Hurts Burrow, because he's proved that he can get me at least to the NFC Championship game. I can continue to put pieces around him, continue to build a system around him, and at least I know that he can be this good.
Ken, are you 100% confident in Jalen Hurts like that? That he's your future franchise quarterback?
They are, and they are going to pay him. They have a good system and a scheme around him. Whenever I watch the Eagles play, all the receivers are wide fucking open. It seems like everybody is wide fucking open. I was telling people this Sunday, and that's a well-designed offensive system that works. And I saw it in college when he was in Alabama, when he went to Oklahoma. If these motherfuckers running wide open, he gonna hit them. So and they've done a good job of doing it. I think that one of the things that I was talking about more than anything, my key takeaway in watching how they built this system around him is how they have failed Lamar Jackson.
Come on.
Because you have a system designed for Lamar like they have for Jalen Hurts. He would probably have a Super Bowl by now.
Or you just, add receivers, competent NFL receivers. I don't know. I mean, that's a novel concept. Adding talent around your star quarterback. I don't know.
Not Sammy Watkins,
But and I'm with y'all on that 100%. But at the same time, we cannot discredit the amount of work that Jalen Hurts puts in.
No,
what I'm saying is,
wait, where you going?
Yeah, I was just saying Lamar would have to put that same work in.
Who says he doesn't? Though?
He doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Who says?
Are you saying that? Are you saying Lamar?
MVP winning quarterback doesn't put work in? That's what we say.
No, I'm saying. Do you see a difference in? I mean, we talked about that. You can win MVP just off your talent alone. That don't mean you put the work in.
No, if that was the case, Josh Allen would have
turn his mic off.
Almost don't count. I said Josh Allen would have an MVP.
Not necessarily.
I smell hate.
You just literally said
I ain't seen it.
He sound like the Ravens now.
So y'all don't think
that R stand for
y'all
Ravens.
honestly don't think
I haven't seen it.
Y'all honestly no, I don't sound like the Ravens. But you honestly don't think Jalen Hurts' work ethic is better than anybody else?
Hell no.
How do you quantify that?
Why do you think he went
from
Hurts all
person, season? I ain't seen that.
Why do you think that he went from the person that y'all say couldn't complete a pass to this person that has this?
He's a professional.
Shelton.
Like Lamar Jackson's a professional. He's a professional.
What you're saying is not wrong.
Hold on. Yes. Manny, what's up?
No, I'm just saying, Shelton, what you're saying is not incorrect, but you're quantifying as comparing it to Lamar Jackson. It's like saying, oh, well, Jalen Hurts' work ethic is this because he's gotten better. So that shows that Lamar Jackson isn't. Like, what? Like, how does that even?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what I'm saying.
It sounded like. It sounded exactly like
what Ken said was, if he had that around him, he'd have the Super Bowls already. I said if he had that same work ethic, which I don't know if he does.
That's clearly what you did.
No.
That's exactly what I said.
Shelton, but the way that we're looking at it is you just move this guy, put that guy there with everything that Lamar Jackson has today. And look, and here's the other thing.
And that wouldn't be the same.
Here's the other thing, right? Like we're talking about an indictment on the Ravens. Lamar ain't never had no O-line like that. The Eagles got a top 5 O-line damn near all time.
It still would be the same.
He ain't never had a team like that.
You still got to do the work.
So you wouldn't even
his
question
best
his
receivers.
Lamar Jackson played.
The talent.
If Lamar Jackson played for the Eagles, you wouldn't question his work. They'd be favorite to win the Super Bowl.
It would be to do the work.
Kyle, what's up?
Sheldon, I don't understand how you can speak on somebody's work ethic. We're not in the facility. You have no idea of how somebody does something, and because a team has success, that doesn't mean that one guy works that better than the other. The team, maybe the other team was just better, but no, I'm not. I don't like, particularly with, I'll be honest, particularly with black quarterbacks, I don't like using those two words together because they are dangerous. Because that's what people have used in the past to keep us from getting those jobs as black quarterbacks. So no, I gotta you my man, but I gotta stop you right there, dog. We can't say work ethic and then attach that to any quarterback, more particularly a black quarterback, because that's dangerous.
You know that.
Well, Kyle, here's the thing. Everybody knows that I cap more black quarterbacks.
I know that.
But in saying that,
my five closest friends are black quarterbacks.
Oh my God. Hey man.
He knows just like y'all do. I count for all black quarterbacks more than,
I know you do.
So I agree with what you're saying on that. But at the same time,
do you?
And I'm not in the facility.
I know Sheldon that motherfucker spotting them.
If you listen to these guys' teammates talk, that's where you get the truth from.
Oh,
here he goes. Clairvoyant
again. Cut his mic off.
Last week, if Lamar Jackson was here, we would have won this game. Those teammates?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yes.
Miss Cleo Sheldon. You know
they credit him a lot.
Once again, what you say is plug and play. If you're talking plug and play, it's still a difference.
But you listening to Jim Harbaugh, it sounds like. You listening to people that work in the front office who are trying to negotiate against him.
What do they say about
You're
Jalen
listening
Hurts?
to people who have a vested interest in negotiating against him right now for his contract.
Preach.
Anybody on the field, anybody ever.
No.
You go back to college in Louisville.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
Lamar Jackson is a hard worker. How Lamar Jackson studies
What I'm talking about is you talking about putting somebody and plug and play. So what was done just now, to me, in my opinion, was lessening the effect that Jalen Hurts had on the Eagles. And say you can take Lamar and stick.
The ghost of Lamar.
No one ever did that.
Jackson is the better quarterback.
Oh my God!
The ghost.
We're
What is
just
he better
saying that
at?
Jalen
What is he
Hurts'
better at?
situation is conducive to his success. All we're arguing is that Sheldon.
Hold on. One at a time. Go ahead, Manny.
No, all that the argument was made that if Lamar Jackson's conditions for his growth were as good as Jalen Hurts, he'd have a better opportunity to win a championship. That is all that is being said. You went down the entire rabbit hole of comparing work ethic and teammates and stuff that we are not privy to.
That is what we're privy to. They saying it.
Sheldon said he's
you can't listen to Boomer Esiason, Sheldon. That don't count.
Look, Sheldon's in the weight room with him, spotting him. Y'all gotta listen to what the fuck he's saying. He knows what's going on.
What I'm saying is do not minimize the impact that a player has made by saying you can plug and play another player.
What's crazy? You saying that when the ghost of Lamar Jackson got them into the playoffs. The ghost of Lamar Jackson got them to the playoffs.
Lamar Jackson is throwing to Devin Duvernay.
That's conjecture. Isn't that an opinion though? Y'all can have an opinion.
Everything that has to do with the quarterback position.
Lamar
Jackson is better.
I need to see it.
Let's move on to the game. Let's move on to arguably the game of the year that got delayed for 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Of course, y'all know we got to talk about this Cincinnati Buffalo game.
Well, do we?
We gotta talk about
the Bengals.
So we do gotta talk about it. We do gotta talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Of course. Because there's a side comment, there's a side topic I want to talk about with Josh Allen. But overall,
yes.
Here we go.
Q, I'm gonna ask you this question first.
Yeah, please.
Why were the Bengals an underdog in this playoff game when they're the defending AFC champions?
Because there's a narrative about Josh Allen that he's in the same tier as Patrick Mahomes, and he's not.
Speak on it.
Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen. Number one.
Lamar Jackson is better than Josh
Lamar Jackson is better than Josh Allen. Number two.
I don't think so.
I mean, okay, we can watch the tape every single time.
Holy moly.
Bro, like, first of all, I don't even like the energy that we've been having towards black QBs the last couple of weeks on this show. So let me go ahead and bring some energy back, because it's just very alarming to me. You know what I'm saying? But Joe Burrow, he gets disrespected because he just is constantly dealing. He don't do nothing overly special. He ain't got a sidearm. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the legs like a Lamar or a Jalen. He doesn't really do the flashy stuff. But he just dealing, man. He knows. He's like, to me, if I can compare him to a basketball player, he's like when Kawhi was in his prime. It's just like everything is just automatic from mid-range. He ain't doing nothing crazy athletically, but it's just so calculated. It's just so like systematic, damn near. And I think that the Bills get a lot of NFL press around them where they're like, oh, this is the team that should go. This is the team that should go. But every single season, they're lacking something, whether it be run game, they're lacking something on the defensive end. And Josh Allen turns the ball over. And we never criticize him with the same fervor that we would criticize any other QB. Even the white ones. Like we kill Justin Herbert or we kill Trevor Lawrence. Josh Allen, sometimes he looks like Jake Delhomme with the rocket arm. And it's just like, I don't know what to say about that. You know, so
athletic Brock Osweiler. Like, bro, you being polite, bro. The media has built up Josh Allen for so long, and I'm sick of it. Lamar Jackson won an MVP.
Yeah.
What an MVP. And all people could say was, well, he doesn't throw well out of the pocket, and he's this, and he can't do this. And he, mind you, forgetting that he throws to Devin Duvernay, of all people. Like, seriously? This man, they built an entire infrastructure around Josh Allen, and he's still mid at best. Listen, he's athletic Brock Osweiler. So he wowed you with his athleticism, and he wowed you because he could run people over, and he could throw 60 yards. Big fucking deal. Zach Wilson could throw for 60-plus yards. We see this every day in the NFL. Who cares? What do you do in the big moments? And this dude is constantly getting a pass, while Lamar Jackson, we constantly say, well, he can't do this. He doesn't win playoff games. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Jalen Hurts, if he loses on Sunday, the narrative will start with him. But Josh Allen gets a pass. Oh, no, Buffalo had a rough season because they had some snow. Really?
You know what, Nick? You know what, Nick? I'm going to say this because I got swerved. But, if we're going to talk about teammate Sheldon, let me leave y'all with this. Stephon Diggs. All them tweets, that is not just about him and losing. He looking right at somebody when he's saying that. Him leaving the locker room. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. Birds getting number 2. Holla at me when we win it, and y'all have a good night.
Hey, bro, there you go, Q. There you go. He ain't trying to go out. There you go. He ain't no guest star.
Bring him back. Bring him back next week.
Hold on. I'm gonna pass it to you, Kyle, before I pass it to the panel. How should we look at Josh Allen after this embarrassing loss at home?
You got to be honest and say same smoke we have for Dak, we got to have for him. They have a home playoff game, and he didn't get it done. And I mean, unlike. And I don't want to compare him to Lamar because he has more weapons around him clearly than Lamar does. But no, I mean the quarterbacks get all the glory and they get all the blame, or they should get all the blame. When you lose. I mean, but to have a home playoff game in your stadium in the snow, you would think that, to answer your question, Nick, I think that's probably why they were favored. And generally speaking, the team that loses the Super Bowl the previous year doesn't get back to where Cincinnati is right now. And you can make a case, if you watch football, you can make a case that Cincinnati is just as good right now or even better than they were at this time last year. So they are odds-on favorite. They should be favored. They should be favored to win, Sunday. And with Mahomes' ankle or whatever like that. And I know we'll get to that in a second. But I mean, Allen deserves whatever smoke that you're going to give him because he did not play as well as you would expect him to play, given the fact that they had a home playoff game, they had the momentum coming into this game.
Boo, you got something on your mind?
Josh Allen is 6'5", 240. The reason that he gets that, other than being white, the reason that he gets that is because we saw him go to 16 seconds or whatever it may be with Patrick Mahomes. We saw that. Dak Prescott isn't in the same boat because we haven't seen him reach that ceiling. So the only smoke that I would have for what Kyle said then is Josh Allen, they still think because of what they've seen, he's proven it almost on the field. When you're talking about last year, Dak Prescott hasn't. His ceiling is.
Hold on. Did he say he's proven it almost on the field? What the hell is proven it
I'm just
almost?
speaking in comparison to Dak Prescott. And
they both lost in the divisional round back-to-back seasons.
But they're not in the same boat because what Josh Allen done has a higher ceiling than what Dak Prescott has done. I know how close I am with Josh Allen. I know how far away I am with Dak Prescott.
That's a good point.
Nick,
that's a good point.
Look, this year for Josh Allen in the playoffs was not good, right? So I'm not absolving him. But to what Spike is trying to explain, at least from the vantage point of from over here, is this: Josh Allen ceiling obviously is a lot higher than Dak Prescott, right? And is a lot higher than a lot of other players.
His talent is a lot higher.
Hold on.
We can't say his ceiling is.
But okay, fine. But we've seen that when tested by the other great quarterback, that he was able to rise his game to match that level.
Has he?
Toe to toe. Him and Patrick Mahomes were toe to toe.
That's one game.
One game. What did he do in the AFC Championship game 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
When was Dak's game like
100%. But it was in a pressure moment that we have not seen Dak do ever.
We saw Dak rookie year go toe to toe with Aaron Rodgers and lose on a great Aaron Rodgers pass. And we just saw this past weekend he beat Brady on the road.
Not to mention that Chiefs
45-year-old Brady.
Not to mention the Chiefs set defensive football back 15 years.
You brought up a good point with the Aaron Rodgers game. That's a good point.
Both playoff games.
No, you're talking about a 45-year-old Brady that's a shell of himself. All it would have took is one drive.
Those are playoff games nonetheless, bro. You
okay,
play
so
who you
those
play.
are playoff games. So what Josh Allen did was chop suey?
What do you mean?
What do you
He
mean?
lost.
But he had a great game. They didn't lose because of him.
Right.
Did they lose because of him?
He proved that you can ride my back. I'm going to take you as far as I can take you. 16 seconds. I just happen to be playing the
y'all got to stop with this game.
Let me ask you
the greatest quarterback of this generation. I just
Bro,
happened
that
to
was
be him
2 years ago.
Let me ask you this question. Would you say last year's Josh Allen performance was like one of the best of his NFL career?
Yes.
That's his sim.
Okay. And would you say this past Sunday was one of his worst playoff performances of his career?
Very pedestrian.
Okay. Both of them ended in what, Ken? A loss. So we seen him at his best and at his worst, and he still got it the same round that Dak Prescott that we killed. To Kyle's point, it's the same round.
Here's the difference.
So why do I think he's the same?
The difference in what you're saying is we saw Dak Prescott get outplayed by Brock Purdy, a 7th round. We saw Josh Allen go toe for toe with arguably the best quarterback.
I know y'all didn't watch this game.
He would have lost. You're absolutely right. But
that's not equal.
We have our
that's
eyes.
not equal because our eyes will tell you this. Sheldon, whose defense is better, the Bengals or the 49ers?
49ers by far.
Okay, what quarterback you say is better, the Josh Allen or Dak Prescott? Would you say going into that game?
Josh Allen.
Okay, so he's playing a worse defense. And he's the better quarterback. Yet Dak Prescott put up more points to him at home. Get the fuck out of here. This is what I talk about when I said weeks ago, why the fuck are we talking about Joe Burrow not being number 2 and Josh Allen number 2?
No.
What the fuck has he done?
Joe Burrow.
Speak on it.
That's what I'm saying. I said that weeks ago.
I
said that weeks ago.
Him and Dak, him and Dak not in the same conversation is the point. You can put Joe Burrow as high as you want to.
Bruh, talent-wise, him and Dak are not in the conversation. But situationally, ceiling-wise, why is he better?
Because we saw him go toe for toe with Patrick Mahomes.
At one game. He's still that one game.
We've seen Dak Prescott for years.
We don't talk about the Houston game. We don't talk about the Houston game when he was trash. That comeback against Houston, the comeback Houston had 3 years ago. We don't talk about that game where he was awful. We don't talk about the AFC Championship game where he was awful. We don't talk about the game against the Colts where the Colts literally could have won that game if Phillip Rivers' old ass wasn't out there. Like, we don't talk about these games, but we talk about that one divisional round matchup where he played great, but also the Chiefs set defensive football back 15 years. We seem to forget that part also, that the Chiefs defense was all-time bad consistently that game. We don't talk about that. But Josh Allen, look at how he throws so far and so deep. He's tall and he's good looking and he plays in Buffalo and look at his development. Like they literally fucking flatulate all over themselves in the media because it's like, they build this dude up, but yet Lamar Jackson, and that's who I'm comparing. Fuck Dak. I don't care about that.
Thank you.
Lamar Jackson. We can make the case that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are on the same playing field as far as talent goes at the quarterback position. But somehow the media has a lot, and we all know why, but they have a lot more smoke for Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is playing with nobody compared to Josh Allen. But Josh Allen loses. Listen, the DeMar Hamlin situation set them back. Look at all the snow they had in Buffalo. Look at this. The Biden administration, the price of gas, inflation. I mean, they do everything to give Josh Allen a pass, but Lamar Jackson stinks up the joint. No, see, we told y'all he can't pass. He should be a wide receiver. Like seriously,
Dak is
I agree with
insane.
everything that Manny said. I just don't think that Dak is in the same.
Let's talk about the game then. Sheldon, what was your main takeaway
from that game? Is exactly what you're saying, that Josh Allen is not who we thought he was. And we already knew what Burrow was. We knew what he was. But Josh Allen did not show up. It was a home game. And the main thing, and I think Q said it before he left, Stephon Diggs told a story. He said it. He basically said it. When he called him out on the sidelines, he was saying, we ain't getting it done. You ain't getting it done. He was in his face. He wasn't talking about us. He was talking about him. And that's an indictment on your quarterback.
That's all.
Can I read the tweet? Want me to be okay with our level of play when it's not up to the standard? Nah. That's the one I think is directly.
Did you see the other tweet where Eli Apple said Cancun on 3?
Oh my God. Hey, Eli Apple is a menace. He's a straight menace. Man, I was looking at his smoke. I meant to send that to you. I didn't know if you saw it.
I seen it. Of course, I seen it.
And then he sent the Damar Hamlin heart. I was like,
no, he did.
Yes, he did.
That's so foul, bro.
Bro,
oh my God.
And that's my thing. That was my
I love
thing
it, though.
with this. Is like,
me too.
and that's what I've been screaming about for the last 2 years. The NFL changed the rules twice for this team, bro. They said that, we want overtimes to be fair because we want both teams to get it. Next round, the Bengals did what the Bills couldn't do with that number 1 defense.
Right.
They couldn't stop Hattie when they needed to. Mm-hmm. And then again this year, the Bills could have had a chance number 1 seed. So could have the Bengals. We could have y'all canceled that game and y'all said, we're gonna go by whatever the fuck. Y'all didn't even go by the percentage.
That game too.
Bengals ain't had no chance.
We knew the Bengals.
They had they sold 50,000 tickets in Atlanta for a game that might happen.
And what Joe Burrow said?
Joe Burrow said, "Fuck all that. We going in the snow."
I hope y'all get your refunds.
Bro, them first 2 drives. That first drive reminded me of that drive 2 weeks ago.
That's what
I told you. I was like, bro, he was about to kill them. It
was gonna be a carbon copy. I'm telling you, it was. I knew it was not gonna be. It was not gonna be pretty.
It's just the disrespect. That's what I'm trying to say.
Joe Burrow?
No, it's more about just this Bills team and how they, or even just how the Bills team is hyped up and how people disregard Cincinnati. Like, we're again. Ken, I told you this weeks ago. I was like, why don't people introduce the Bengals like the defending AFC champions? We're not the defending AFC North champions. We're the defending AFC champions, which means that we don't even need to go have a home game. We'll bring the hot L to you, FIFO. So when you bring up all of these niggas and all these stats, nah, motherfucker. And when niggas was talking about, Joe Burrow throw as many picks as Josh Allen, take out that first game where he threw 4 picks and it looked different. You know what I'm saying? Josh Allen overall, interception and fumbles was the most in the league, 32.
His elbow is hurt.
This nigga ain't that dude.
His elbow was bad.
Nick, how much confidence did you have that your team would be here, though?
Oh, he was extremely confident.
Right. No, he was not. No, he wasn't.
No, I wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
All season, I was like, I'm nervous because we got the hardest schedule. And I was like, bro, I'll be pleasantly surprised if we won 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
We overachieved that.
They did.
I also got to give a shout out to Zach Taylor and the coaching staff. I told you about Big Lou. Not you, nigga. The defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. Like, I told y'all, like, this dude, bro, 10 points. They only scored a touchdown in 1 quarter of that whole game.
Joe Burrow put himself on that level, right? He on the same level with Patrick Mahomes, if not like an inch below. And then
no, he's not. He's not.
I was gonna say that
inch below.
I would say this.
Those are the 2 premier quarterbacks.
Well, you know what? No, well, you know what it is, Spike. I think part of the problem is, man, we keep talking about the media, and Dennis Sports is part of the media, but the narrative keeps changing because we keep listening to these people. Realistically, it's gonna keep changing until you win. Winning solves everything. We had people last year telling us that Matt Stafford was a top 5 quarterback. Nobody talks about Matt Stafford now. You know why? Because he got hurt and his team won 4 games this year. It's going to keep changing. So whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Josh Allen, whether it's Joe Burrow, you got to win. And you're defined, especially at this level, you're defined by wins. So if Joe Burrow, for as great of a season as he's had, if he gets to the Super Bowl and he loses, it's not going to matter. So you got to win. You have to win, period. Especially when you get this far.
The Super Bowl, but there's a difference between getting to the Super Bowl and let's say Burrow gets there and loses. There's a difference between getting to the Super Bowl and losing. You could forgive that.
I can't forgive that.
Especially if you lose to a better team. But Josh Allen consistently gets overhyped, and then I look at
Manny, but that's a part of what Manny. That's a part of what sports is. That's the part. You have to sell that. You have to sell the Josh Allen. And that's not to say that Josh Allen isn't talented. He is. But the narrative is going to keep changing until you win.
It to a correlation between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, two quarterbacks that were the two best quarterbacks of their draft class.
Right.
One gets shit on consistently for his playoff failures, while the other one, it's a bad elbow, it's snow, it's DeMar Hamlin.
But it was still a playoff failure, though. That's my point. You got to win. So okay. So what you want to do? Even the way we shit on Josh Allen
just
and
keep
Lamar.
The same energy. That's all I want. Keep the same energy that you got for Lamar.
Manny, you know that's not realistic.
That's all I ask.
No, I understand what you're saying, but that's not. But if we're being honest, if all of us being honest, that's not realistic. It's not.
Why not?
Because neither one, nobody's won. The only people that don't get shitted on is those that win. People remember winners. Nobody remembers who lost.
Josh Allen get shit on this week?
Huh?
Did Josh Allen get shit on this week?
In Buffalo, he did. Now, I don't know about the national media, but in Buffalo, they're killing him.
Yeah, he got saved in the national media because everybody's on deck right now.
Cal got a good point, though.
That's a big one. But I don't hear if
go ask a Buffalo fan about how they feel about Josh Allen, how they feel about this team right now. They're mad because they thought that they'd be where Cincinnati is right now.
I'll let Spike speak, but here, let me finish with this point. If Lamar Jackson would have had that game that Josh Allen had, you would have been hearing think pieces about how Lamar Jackson is a failure. Right. He doesn't deserve the money. His team is too reliant on his athletic skills. You would have heard that for days. But Josh Allen is a different story, and that's what I want. I just want the same energy for both quarterbacks. That's it. That's all I want. That's all my point is.
The winning will prove itself, I think, for Burrow, and as it has for Mahomes. I think Burrow is going to consistently continue to be in these situations, to be in these games. He's proven that he could do it, even going back to his last year in college. So I think that it is going to trend out for him and Mahomes to be the top two, and then everybody else figure it out.
So to say he's almost at Mahomes' level or right below, what does he have to win, Kyle? Does he have to win the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
so. Or does he have to make it to the Super Bowl?
He's already made it to the Super Bowl. And I think, that's how, especially nowadays, we're defining these guys' greatness by, the rings that they can. I mean, because we could see a situation where Pat Mahomes could make it to the Super Bowl and don't win. Mm-hmm. Then what we going to say? We gonna give him a pass and we're going to shit on him. I mean, like, you can't have it both ways. And ultimately, if we're being honest, we care about the wins that win. We don't really care about the ones that lose, they're subject to the firing squad.
I don't know though, Cal. I mean, we praised Tom Brady. He lost 5 Super Bowls? 4?
No, he only lost twice to the Giants and to the Eagles. That was the only one. Mm-hmm. That's the only ones he lost.
But I mean, I agree
with what Cal said.
But he won 3 before that, and then he what I'm saying. He had.
But point is, he went to 10, right? So we are getting more accustomed to, even with LeBron James, we're getting more accustomed to getting there, being consistently in the stage of the last 2 teams playing, and that adding more to your legacy. We're past that Jordan era. You ain't got to go 6-0. You ain't got to be Joe Montana and win 4 straight Super Bowls. Continually be there, continually show that you're competitive. Can be a blowout or not, but Brady has shown us, LeBron James has shown us that just being in the conversation year after year is going to do a lot for your legacy.
My thing though, we talked about, but this is just one case, but Peyton Manning, for example, forever he didn't get there, but he still was up there on that chart.
Though. He didn't get to the Super Bowl.
You know what I'm saying? We still talked about him that way.
He got one though, and that's Shelton's point.
Yeah,
he went to 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. But we talked about him like that before he got there. All that time he was talking about that, like that's what I'm saying. Why can't we talk about Joe Burrow before he wins the Super Bowl? We talked about Peyton Manning.
I think we are though, right?
Nope, no, absolutely.
They're not talking about. They're just now talking about Burrow, but like the fact that the shit that Cincinnati doesn't get praised for the things they've done. Like, look at the teams look at the quarterbacks they've beaten this season. Like, anybody who made a run like that against Mahomes, Brady, Allen, they've beaten every team in the AFC so far that was a top team, playoff team, and contender. Like,
you got
anybody on that resume will be lauded. We're just now getting there because we're in the AFC. We only 4 teams you could talk about.
They got to talk about
talk about us now.
And there's something that we always talk about, right? Like, quarterbacks got to win, and to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Right.
And the best quarterback in the game, hands down, is Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow has beaten him in the biggest of games.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He's gone toe-to-toe and gotten past that hurdle. You know what I'm saying? So it says a lot to me. That's why I said, hands down, In my opinion, he's number 2 hands down. Like
easily.
What Mahomes does, it just can never be recreated. Like he's one of one. It's different. I don't care what nobody says.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But right there is
Burrow.
Joe Burrow
I
because
agree.
he's unshakable.
That's Brady.
No, it's very Brady-esque.
I hate that, Ken. I hate that comparison.
That's it.
I don't like it at all.
I
But he's
know why.
Brady.
I know why.
But I hate that
I know
comparison.
why you
No,
do.
it's not. We're gonna find somebody else.
You gonna have to find
He the white
else.
patty. you take out the black side of patty, you get Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
He the white patty.
I don't
say
like that comparison either. I think he really is just.
He's
Joe
just
B.
his own guy. I really
He's Troy Aikman.
because he's better than Brady coming out the
Well, it's not
gate.
even comparing him to Brady. It's comparing the duel, like how those two will be the top.
We got
two,
somebody
the
else.
two
No,
big
but
dogs in the.
you know
He's Joe
what it
Montana.
is? You know what it is?
He's Troy Aikman. He's Troy Aikman on the Cowboys.
No, hell no. It's what makes
Talent-wise, he's better. But I'm saying,
It's cool under pressure.
what I'm
It doesn't
saying
matter
is,
if I have an O line, no wide receiver, T Higgins out, Jamar, no mixing. Like it don't matter, bro.
I'm on ball.
I'm a ball, and if we don't win, we was right there. And I wasn't the reason why we lost. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the
He
guy.
can be the reason why they lost, but I think he'll have more wins to
Yeah,
kind of
let him win one first before we crown him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's my thing.
I'm
Is
just saying he's
if
second best.
I'm
They're doing
always
the
about
same-
being fair
yeah.
to QBs. They're talking about they're trying to do the white shit where they're like, oh, Joe Burrow's the best QB, but Patty Mahomes is the best player. Like I'm like, nah, fuck all that. Patty is number 1. Burrow is number 2.
Right.
Until he gets an MVP, wins the Super Bowl, gets a Super Bowl MVP, and all that other shit. Because Patty's about to get a second MVP, as quiet as it's kept.
Yeah.
In the 5 years of start, his career is amazing.
It is.
Out the gate,
right here.
He is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes.
5 straight
Did you see
AFC
the first
championships.
drive? On
Yeah.
the first drive. We ain't talking about
Yeah,
nothing
talk
but the
about
first
that
drive.
shit.
The
Yo.
first drive. I thought I was tripping.
It's like watching Steph Curry.
First drive. It is 100%.
It's like
The
watching
first
Steph Curry play
drive.
football.
He had a
Like,
jump
what?
pass
Yep.
where he was in the air in perfect pass.
Shit's
Then the
amazing.
next one was a sidearm.
The side of oh
Around-
my God.
around
all
the
the way
defender.
around.
around the linebacker.
Some matrix shit. I was like, this
It's-
nigga
yeah.
different.
Yeah, he's different.
And that's
bro.
why that's why I
different.
say he's number 1 in the question. And the talk of Joe Burrow, like if he beats Patty and goes to Super Bowl again, then that's an argument. But I still would put Patty at number 1. But yeah, he
great
has to
thing-
win multiple times for me to say like he's.
I don't
number
know. The great thing about Burrow being 2 is like who else has a Super Bowl that you can put in front of him other than the old heads like Brady, Rodgers, Russell.
And it's not a
Ain't
lifetime
nobody else
receiver
got
in
no
the
Super Bowl,
road.
so you
Yeah.
can easily put him right there for just appearing in the Super Bowl. Like
Yeah.
Mahomes
If he
has
go-
Super Bowls and nobody else in the league.
Now y'all know if Burrow go to another Super Bowl, he gonna put him over Mahomes. If he beats Mahomes to go to a Super, Nick can lie to our face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You already know.
He is lying
Man, I'm
to
trying
our
to tell you,
face.
I told you I
He's trying
have
to
no.
hold it down
My
right now.
only
ain't it?
agenda is keeping it a bean.
Didn't Lamar
Well,
Jackson beat? Didn't Lamar
right
Jackson
now,
beat
right
Joe Burrow?
wins-
If he wins the
Hold
Super
him.
Bowl, he's done the same.
Even
thing.
if he
If
loses,
he wins the
If he win the Super Bowl, Patty gonna be on watch.
First of all, if he win the Super Bowl, first of all, if he win the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna be here that next week because I'm gonna be in Cincinnati having a good ass time. But if he wins the Super Bowl, and he more likely will be Super Bowl MVP based off of just him,
he got to be.
he got to be.
Shit,
All he would be missing is the MVP, and that's all he got over. Patty got over him.
yeah,
so you saying you put him 1A if he wins the Super Bowl this year?
I'm saying there's a case to be made that he's the best quarterback right now. That the Chiefs, I would say this: if he definitely wins the Super Bowl, the Chiefs dynasty is over. Whatever dynasty they was trying to talk about, or Mahomes ruling all that shit,
So
that
soon.
shit dead.
Is Andy Reid retired?
So soon.
Andy Reid about to be. Andy Reid could be 0-4 against Zach Taylor, and Ken going into the season. Would you thought I would have told you that?
Mm-mm.
You
But-
would have told him that.
I would have said none of that.
But what I will say, I don't know how Dak got in the whole conversation about Burrow, and then we started talking about Allen's game against Patrick Mahomes last year, and we're not talking about what happened this year, and we're talking about a quarterback that did all that last year, that at home in snow, which should be his comfort zone, got demolished by the Super Bowl runner-up.
His elbow was hurt.
So it's like we shouldn't look at last year. You're playing one of the top guys in your division right now. and he beat the shit out of you at home. What you did last year against the best quarterback and this guy that we're talking about beat the guy you couldn't beat last year 3 times already.
He didn't get the ball back in
so
overtime.
it's like that if Burrow has supplanted Josh Allen and he started to supersede him as the guy. Even before this, he just needed to do it in the playoffs.
Ken, you're not being fair. Ken, you're not being fair. You're not being fair. His elbow was hurt. You really can't bring that. Come on, Ken. You're not being fair. Come on.
Yeah, no, he is joking. But yeah, I get why we look at those games and it was a great game. But you have fluky games like that. What the fuck has this motherfucker been doing, really? And he had a chance to put a stake in the ground to go get that rematch.
The whole NFL reason why, the NFL's reason why they won Buffalo this for a home game because they're 13-1 at home. Well, now 13-2.
And on top of that,
but they didn't also. So
add that to criticism of Josh
and fuck
Allen.
Vegas, because Vegas every time the Bengals are over or under, what is one of them 5.5 points, they're 13 or they're 14-2 when they're betted as the underdog against.
Yep.
So out of 16 games, niggas still don't believe that the Bengals gonna win.
It is the Bengals.
I kept waiting for it. I was like, okay, this is going to be the drive for Josh Allen. Okay, this is going to be the drive. He kept breaking tackles. They couldn't get him down.
They was trying to sack bro. He should have had about 10 sacks.
Yeah,
they should have about 10 sacks. That nigga was breaking all this shit. I was like,
and it never happened, man. And when just looking at the game, like the Bengals look cool, composed. We talked about it in the chat, Kyle, how Allen looked unsettled the whole game. I said for most of the game, Kyle said the whole game, and I guess he's right.
I was counting the Bengal defenders. I was like, they got to have 12 out there because ain't no way they dominating him this way. Because that didn't look good. That looked like, you know how HBCUs play the big schools? It really didn't look good.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, FIFO, you play with the Bengals on the Madden franchise. You know about Cam Taylor break, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you think he could lock up Gabe Davis?
No.
It's Gabe Davis.
I was just about to say
Gabe Davis. Yeah.
You throwing that out like
they call him Big Play Gabe.
Like UTO.
2 catches for 40 yards.
Right.
We talked about that. He
ain't say Stephon Diggs. This motherfucker said Gabe Davis.
But they locked up Stephon Diggs too. He had what? 39 yards?
Yeah,
that was
like
he had 10 targets.
That's why he was mad.
And he only had 4 catches, and those targets.
That's what he feel like. That ain't his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't.
He did get overthrown. Yeah. There was an open.
There's a lot of over under.
Gabe Davis is really good at catching Josh Allen's overthrows. That's essentially what Gabe Davis is.
That's true.
Yeah. I got a question. I got a question for everybody. It looks like Mahomes is not going to be anywhere close to 100%. What do y'all think this is going to do in the event because he's not going to be able to play? We're assuming that he's not. We're assuming he's going to play well. But what if he doesn't play well? Does this hurt him and Kansas City and his legacy if it ultimately costs them the game?
No.
I think this is where I've seen some conversation about Andy Reid being the second best coach after Belichick of this generation. This is where he proves that. Now I got the best quarterback in the league. He's a little immobile. What kind of game plan can I put together for him not to have to run all around to do those things to win the game? I'm putting that on Andy Reid.
Okay. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough because I was watching this doctor on YouTube, and he was like, "Man, he shouldn't be playing this."
But that's a 2 to 4 week injury.
That's a month injury. That's a month.
Yeah, and high ankle sprains are tough.
That's tough.
And he want to play against the Bengals in cold weather.
Want to come out the game.
Right, and then his style of play.
He got to run around.
Make him good.
Yeah.
Sidestep because it's instinctual.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the difference, right? Like with Mahomes, it's like it's a feel thing, which is why you can't teach it.
Right.
So he is going to be more immobile, obviously, but I think he's going to still be able to make the plays that he needs to make because he's that damn good. And also, I think he'll be able to step up. I don't think he'd be able to run.
It's his plant leg. That's what the high ankle sprain. He can't.
That's the problem.
Yeah, they'll shoot it up though.
They will
for 3 hours. He ain't gonna feel that.
Yeah, he ain't gonna feel it.
It's still gonna be tough, man. Y'all
it's gonna be tough.
The nigga, they shot him up. He was doing the block boy JP, trying to run the ball. Like,
I'm talking about Patty though.
I get you. He won the game.
I gotta see him be normal for me to believe. Like I've seen,
he's gonna be fine.
I done seen him be too great for me to like. I gotta
he's gonna be
fine.
I'm not worried about Patty. More so that how. So you telling me that Smith Schuster's gonna get open earlier? You telling me that? You telling me that? Travis Kelce was open because of the Jags defense.
Yeah, they'll double Travis Kelce. You would think.
It's all defense.
No, he does not. No, he does not.
What do you mean?
Look at the last Bengals game. Just this season, bro.
Okay.
Every now and again.
Even less likely for them to do it twice. If they did it once this season, even less likely they're gonna hold a great player like him down twice.
Even Travis Kelce needs time to get open.
True. But you know what though? I think you can run a lot of screens, a lot of quick hitting things, get Kadarius Toney
anybody can figure it out,
like ball in hand quicker. Like there's a lot of things that they can do. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to until you have to, you know what I'm saying, rely on Patty like that. But early on in the game, we'll see the type of gameplay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hate he ran back out there like a damn fool.
Yeah, I was expecting Henry to finish the game.
You know who else to me stepped up, and I say he needed to step up in that moment was Pacheco. Pacheco looked
he's the key.
Dynamic, gave him a lot of juice. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the running backs look extremely mediocre, but Pacheco gives that offense some juice. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he has to step up this entire game. I think he needs to be part more of the play calling. I think Kadarius Toney, they got to get the ball in his hands quick, more screens. I think they have the requisite weapons to protect Patty. And then if you get into it, then Patty just gotta be Patty.
Is the line gonna hold up? That's
I think they're almost better suited this year to deal with an injury to Patty than they were years prior because of Pacheco and the running game. And McKissick's going to be a big factor in this game too for the reasons that you brought up with the screen pass. I just think it's just going to come down to two really good teams and which quarterback can make enough plays to win the game. Yep. And that's what I think it comes down to. I think it's going to be a matchup of Burrow and Mahomes, and I think who can outdo who. I think the injury will be a point of conversation all the way into the lead up, and then I think people will see within the first quarter that Mahomes is Mahomes. He's fine.
Hey, man, you brought up something that people keep forgetting about ever since Patty Mahomes has started. The Chiefs defense, even though I fuck with Steve Spagnuolo because he won 2 Super Bowls for the Giants. It's trash. It is trash.
And their defense is actually better this year than it's been in years prior.
And that's like saying I got cheese on the shit sandwich, Manny. Because I'm gonna tell you like this. Put Burrow against that defense. You seen what he did at the Bills defense. The Bills defense in the red zone is supposed to be what, top 5, number 1 in the NFL.
They step up,
and we have 14 points in the first quarter. What you think we gonna do to this Chiefs defense that barely could have hold if Christian Kirk was more believed in the God more? Maybe would have caught them balls.
But Nick, you know what's gonna be the key to the game too, though? Chris Jones.
Fourth quarter is chasing down somebody.
What did he do last year, Lou? Yeah, who was he chasing down last year when they needed to stop?
I mean, up until that game,
where was he at this season? In Cincinnati.
Nick.
What did I tell you coming into this week? I'll be shocked when Patty beats the Bengals. Yeah. Then if the Bengals they gotta play us. But you know they gotta play us.
This nigga's really overconfident.
He's on one.
Hold on.
We got Harvard last year with the AFC champs, nigga. We got that trophy, nigga.
Hold on. There was another quarterback that Patty played against that you had some strong words for. So how do you feel about Trevor Lawrence now? Because
Trevor Lawrence had a good game.
He had a damn.
I was surprised.
Season. You was on.
You
wanted him out of
here.
You was ready to write him off.
No.
I just want to make sure we clarify though.
No, me. I'm the one that no. I said this season I had expectations. Niggas is yelling at me about expectations for a number 1 overall pick. When I had a number 1 overall pick for my team take us to the Super Bowl with a bad O-line and a defense that y'all couldn't even name 3 players on. So when I said this nigga need to win 7 games, what'd he do? He won 9. Congrats. He won a division. A division that we all didn't think he was gonna win. So let's not act like we had any hopes for this nigga. Because I got the results, the receipts here.
I think I said that. I think
historic
I was the highest on the Jags.
Historic playoff on the Jags. Historic.
Did you pick him to win the division?
No.
Okay. So that's why I said none of us here believed in him. And I said he needs to win at least 7 games with that roster and that head coach. They won 9 and they got into the playoffs. Y'all didn't really give them. I wouldn't give them much credit for that first playoff win because the coach that y'all said, you know what I'm saying, don't really matter. fucked up a 27-point
Still
lead.
came back from 24 down.
He did that. So I give him credit for that too. And I'll give him credit for sticking in this game when he could have honestly pushed it. They could have almost won this game.
Could have won this.
They could have.
Yeah.
You know when, and I was talking to Ken about this. You know how like they always talk about 3-4 plays in the game that could have changed the game. To me, the biggest play of the game for the Jags was that miss by Christian Kirk, because it wasn't a miss by Trevor Lawrence. The fumble was hard too. But here's the thing: that big play by Christian Kirk is guaranteed points. In the games that came down to one possession, you knew you was going to get the ball back. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that was arguably the biggest play of the game, because you get that play right there, momentum swings your way. Patty's hurt. You know what I'm saying? That's a big play for Trevor Lawrence, because when that ball came off that man's shoulder, I said, "God damn, where you going?"
How about letting Chad Henne go 90+ yards for a touchdown? Like
98 yards.
Yeah, that was the play of the game. Right, Mahomes is out. You could just feel it. Like that game is turning right there. Like you got to get off the field with Chad Henne there. If they get off the field, I think they win that game.
What was huge too was when Agnew, he had that kickoff return where he was tackled by the kicker.
He almost got it.
Then that same series he fumbled that and turned the ball over.
You were talking about the kicker. Tackled.
Yeah. Then that same series he fumbled and turned it over. So Agnew had that was huge, because that was points.
What did you think about Trevor Lawrence's performance?
You mean the season or just in that particular game?
We're both.
I think he took a step forward. I think he took a couple of steps forward. I think from what we saw, obviously, getting started off with Urban Meyer as your head coach, and the debacle that was, and him bouncing back, man. I mean, he's showing what what people thought he would be as a number one pick. And Jacksonville is, you can say what they want about you. You can say what you want about their division. It's not, it's not the monsters of the Midway or anything like that. But they won the division. They won a playoff game, and I think that's something. They got something to build on there. They got some weapons, and I think they got a couple of draft picks coming up.
Calvin Ridley coming back.
They got draft picks, and they got a couple of people coming. I don't know that you can try. I mean, well, the reason why I say that I hope Calvin Ridley is okay. But Calvin Ridley, if you watch the Falcons, Calvin Ridley, I think, just my personal opinion, I think based on what I saw, he looked like somebody who, because remember, Julio had left. And so he's trying to fill the role of Julio, and he's not getting the numbers up. And he looked depressed. And he looked like he was like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. And then remember now, before he started gambling, or before he got knocked for gambling, he left the Falcons for like 2 games. He was depressed or something like that.
I remember that.
And so
I thought his bookie was looking for him.
And that's what it was. So he did that, and then he comes back, and then he gets injured, then he gets knocked for the gambling thing. So I don't know where he's going to be mentally. I mean, they got a decent package as far as like running back. They got Etienne, and they've got some decent receivers there. So it's not like he has to come in and be the guy. So maybe he'll fit in that offense, but I'm not going to put a whole bunch of eggs in that basket if I'm Jacksonville, because you just don't know what he's going to be.
Did you know he was 28 years old?
Yeah, he's old. He's real old.
Yeah, Calvin really was like in college for like 7 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah, but I think Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, he made a step, man. He made a couple of steps, and I think they have reason to be, happy about where they can be next year.
They can run that division for the next 5 years, honestly.
Yeah.
They got the best quarterback.
We talked about that.
Tennessee may say something about
Tennessee
it.
may have something to say coming up, bro.
Joshua Now Tennessee is a quarterback away. Mike Vrabel is upset.
Aaron
Rodgers.
That's what I said. That's what I told him in the chat.
Go to Tennessee?
I told him in the chat because we just talked about that quarterback away.
You just said our better option.
Or maybe they can get David Carr.
They'll get Derek Carr. I think they'll get
Derek Carr. My bad, Derek Carr.
The Jets have more on the outside. The running back obviously isn't Derrick Henry level, but he's obviously up and coming, one of the best young backs in the league. The defense is better.
Who has better
talent wise?
The best thing about the Jets.
Wait, I got one.
What's up?
If I were Aaron Rodgers, I wanted to say this to the show. Why wouldn't I go to New England? If I want to win,
there's no weapon.
If I want to win more Super
nothing
Bowl,
there.
I seen Bill Belichick win these Super Bowls with Tom Brady. Would not go to there.
They got Matt Patricia calling offense. That's why I wouldn't go there.
Now they got Bill O'Brien
coming back.
Well, that's not much better.
Yeah.
Nah, Bill O'Brien won Super Bowls with them though.
Man, Bill O'Brien. No.
And why
Bill
would you wanna
Belichick
follow
won the
Brady?
Super Bowl. Bill O'Brien was on the squad.
And why would you want to follow Brady? That's a
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. You wouldn't want to follow
Like, if
Brady.
you want to win Super Bowls and cement that legacy that he's
Nah,
talking about,
AR-12
I
needs to
can
come
go
to the
New
Jets.
England, I can tell
He needs to come to New York.
Manny,
Figure it out.
Here's the thing about Rodgers. Rodgers is just like every other great quarterback. He feels like if you put him on the most bum ass team, he can win a championship. And his talent is such to where he feels like he could be the guy, the piece to get them over the top. So Rodgers feels like, I mean, you can put him wherever. You can put him in New Orleans. He feels like he can win a title.
If Aaron is watching us right now, if you want to go to a place where the executive producer ain't dancing all in the video, come to New York, baby. Come to New York. Come to the Jets, baby.
Hey, if Aaron Rodgers win the Jets a ring, Manny building a statue.
Oh my God, we never hit the end of it.
The Jets is the best spot.
And they ain't paying nobody. They're not paying nobody.
Exactly, they can afford them, and then you could get free agents on top of that.
I don't know, bro.
I go New England.
My only thing is Robert
New
Shaw.
York,
I don't know if
Las
he gonna
Vegas.
vibe well with.
That's
Rodgers.
what I'm saying. I think I
is
trust
gonna
Tennessee
vibe
better than
with
I
Rodgers?
trust the Jets.
Yeah, I go to New York. I go to the Jets.
I go to the Patriots.
Or I go to Miami.
Put me with Belichick and let me win rings.
Let me be with Mike. Let me be with Matt
I
McDonald.
got a dude right here that's
You
been
know,
winning rings.
if-
Let me go
if-
up there with him.
If I
You
was
know
Brady,
Tua coming
if
back.
I was him, I had a choice. I would definitely go to the Raiders.
Tua need to retire.
Brady?
Reunite? No. Well, that's why
That would be my second choice
If I
behind
was
New
Rodgers, I would go back. I mean, I would go to the
McDaniels.
Raiders because
They got
with McDaniels, you
running
got
back,
your
they
boy
got a
right there, and
receiver, they got a deep, yeah.
that's your receiver. You already got synergy with him.
Hey, Shelton. Question: doesn't Rodgers still have a year left on his deal?
He does.
Yeah, he's got a guarantee.
But they're already
the
shopping
Packers
him.
talking about trading.
They're shopping him now. They
To
said
the
they're
AFC.
shopping, but not in the NFC.
So wouldn't whoever he went to would have to absorb his money, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's what $50 million, right?
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
the
absorb his
Packers
money.
would have to pay the signing bonus, and the team that he's trading to would have to pay
Okay.
the salary.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Okay, good looking out.
So the Raiders could afford it.
Raiders could afford it. If I'm Miami, I'm moving hell in hot water. Putting that guy with Tyreek, with Jalen, with Gesicki.
In Miami?
You know what the problem would be?
I'm on what y'all said earlier. Lamar in Miami.
I think McDaniel will be the problem with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think.
Why?
They don't seem like two.
I think he would open.
McDaniel
I feel like,
and Aaron. You see?
I feel like McDaniel was like, bro, I'm playing Etch a Sketch with Tua. I could be playing PS5
With a great quarterback, with a great quarterback like that, you want him to go.
Team-wise, you might be right.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say, with a great quarterback like that, you almost want him to go to a defensive head coach because he could just basically run the offense, and the defensive head coach can be the CEO of the team. If Rodgers goes somewhere where you have an offensive identity, he's going to clash with that head coach because he's going to think that he's more of a genius than the head coach, which you could argue maybe he is or maybe he isn't. So I think with Rodgers, I think you almost want to go to somewhere like Tennessee or New York where they have a defensive identity, they have a defensive coach where he could basically just be the offense. Like it's Aaron's offense.
I get what you're saying, Manny, but Miami
come to New York, my nigga. Like, yo, just come here, man.
Miami sounds much better.
What you want?
Then he tried to say it last, like you
Like you,
Jets,
you
maybe.
put Tennessee right there, but remember the Jets.
I'm with FIFA. Give me Miami, man. If I'm Rodgers, I'm going to Miami.
Miami.
Oh, they got Tua, man. They got Chris Benoit, too.
How the 49ers feel.
I think they get Brady though.
Brady.
If I'm Miami, I get Brady.
I go to if I'm
Miami. You really want Brady though?
I think Brady gonna retire, man. I think
Look,
Brady gonna
if
retire.
I'm Miami, I need a strong arm quarterback. I need a guy that Tyreek don't have to slow down to catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? And Brady ain't that guy no more.
That's true.
And to me, Brady needs to go where it's a big catch radius. Tyreek, he has a pretty big catch radius because of how fast he is, but Devontae with the Raiders.
That's why he's going to go. That's why
It don't matter where you throw it. If it's in the vicinity, he's going to make a catch, right? So to me, I can see Brady more so going there. The 49ers, I don't know. I personally, I don't want to see
Purdy.
That's Brock job.
That's Glock job.
That's Key Brock.
Key Brock.
I told you, I would love to see Lamar Jackson in Miami with them boys.
I would like to see him there.
He's going to Miami. He's going to the Orange Bowl Classic.
I also see where they're saying that Lamar could be going to the Falcons too.
That I would love to see that too.
Falcons ain't gonna do it. They say they don't want no more black man that can.
They drafted one, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Who?
Ritter.
I gotta double check. I gotta see. He
likes it. Nick, that's your boy.
I gotta see, bro. Ever since I seen Patty, baby, I don't say.
Nick, he won us. Nick, he's won us. He just a lighter version, but he won us.
It's the hair that threw me off. Let's get to these picks. Before you haven't been with us, so I'm don't feel disrespected. I'm not including you in this. But everybody went 3-1 but me. I went 2-2. That's because of the Giants, of course. But we're all having the same record. We're all 7-3. So for the postseason so far. But we're down to the final 2 games of, I guess, is the Super Bowl different than the playoffs? Do people consider that different than the playoffs, or is that all the same?
Yeah.
No, it's the
same. It's the end cap of the playoffs, but it's its own thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I was gonna say, I don't know if this is the last 2 games of the playoffs, but some people say the Super Bowl is still the playoffs. So nonetheless, we're in the final four championship round. Mm-hmm. Up first, we got the Eagles versus 49ers. Kyle, I'm gonna start with you.
Man, this is tough. It's flip a coin. I'm gonna go Philly by 3. Last second field goal.
Wow. Close game or high scoring?
Oh no, it's gonna be high scoring. It's gonna be. I think it'll be low scoring at the beginning, and then after halftime, I think you'll see both offenses kind of open up. Both teams are gonna feel each other out. I think they match up. Each team matches up well with each other. I'm interested to see how the game is getting played on the outside. What Philly does as far as trying to match up with Debo, and then they're gonna have to put San Francisco is one of those teams that don't have to put somebody in a box for Jalen Hurts when he starts running. Fred Warner can run him down anyway. So the cat and mouse game that DeMeco Ryans will be playing against Nick, Philly's coach, the last name is, I can't remember his name. But I like Philly at home. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but I like Philly at home. But it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game, high scoring. I say, 27-30.
Hey, Cal, I got a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article recently. I don't know. I meant to send this to y'all where Peyton Manning was saying that halftime adjustments are overrated.
I saw it live when they were talking about him and Eli said the same thing.
Because we talk about that a lot on the show. Like, this coach is great at making adjustments. You played football.
Mm-hmm.
Are there halftime adjustments made at the collegiate and professional level that you see?
Yeah, I think so. I would now. Granted, they have a different perspective because Peyton's an all-world quarterback. Eli's his brother, so they're not. They see the game differently. But in college, at least from what I could see when we played, man, those adjustments that you make at halftime, that's everything. You ain't
right, Kyle.
What I say? What I do?
Eli, his brother.
Oh yeah.
You ain't shit, Kyle. He gave you 2 Super Bowls.
Hey man, I love Eli, man. I love Eli. But yeah, the adjustments, man. I mean, like that stuff is important. It's important to make those adjustments because maybe you can get an eye from a coach. Hey, we're seeing this, or what you're seeing on the field or whatever like that. So I think it's very important. In college football, it is because momentum probably more in the college game than the pro game. Momentum shifts. We see it every Saturday. It shifts so fast. And sometimes, man, when that momentum gets going, man, like you got to try to figure it. Sometimes you just got to get to halftime just so you can figure that shit out.
Manny, what about you? Eagles versus 49ers.
The spread is -2.5 Philly. I'm going to go with 49ers, man. I think it's a close game. I do think it's a close game, but I just think the 49ers match up well with Philly. I don't think Philly's going to be able to just get those guys wide open. Like Ken was mentioning, where the receivers are just wide open all over the field. I think the 49ers will devise a scheme for that. And I think they're going to put the game in the hands of Jalen Hurts to try to beat them, prove that he's healthy with the shoulder. And I just think the 49ers, I think this game, Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell are going to be big factors because Philly's going to try to make Brock Purdy uncomfortable. They're going to try to make Brock Purdy in the same hand, try to beat them. So I think it's going to be important. The rookie's going to have to make some throws. I think he's proven himself. I think he's answered the bell in every situation that he's been put in so far. I just think the 49ers are a better team overall. And I just think San Francisco will figure out a way to win.
Mm-hmm. That comes from a Duke fan.
What about you, FIFO? Who you got?
I'm going to go 49ers. I've called 49ers from the beginning of the season to make the Super Bowl. Why am I going to change now, right? I think that when we look at this matchup, this is going to be a matchup of Philly's O-line versus 49ers D-line. And when I look at that matchup, as good as Philly's O-line is, I think the advantage goes to the 49ers D-line. I think they'll be able to neutralize that run game. I think they're going to put – it's going to have to be on the shoulder of Jalen Hurts to make throws in difficult windows with big guys that are fast and tenacious around him. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that's going to really have to make plays. He's the one that's going to have to beat that 49er defense. On the other side, with 49ers offense versus the Eagles defense, I think the Eagles D-line is better than the 49ers O-line. But I think the difference in that matchup to me is Kyle Shanahan's play calling. How many weapons that he could use behind the line of scrimmage. He uses Debo behind the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, Kittle, even on tight end screens. Like there's a lot of ways and a lot of motion to get that defense to have a mess up, to have a mental lapse. So to me, I just like what the 49ers bring. I agree. Glock, you know what I'm saying? Whatever we want to call him. That Purdy, man, he out there slinging that thing. And I think that he's going to make enough plays because of the supporting weapons that he has in the play calling to his advantage.
Score. What's the point
score?
Point differential or score?
I'll give you the point differential. I think 49ers by 6.
30-21 Eagles. And a lot of reasons you
said. Okay.
It's a handsome win.
Yes.
I know, right?
Yes. And a lot of the reasons what you said, I agree with only the opposite way. I think that Eagles have a more wide open playbook. I think that it's hard to match up. Sometimes they do have athletes on that 49ers side, but you can go back and look at the Raiders game. There's ways around that defense, and you can make moves around that. I like the veteran leadership that the Eagles have. I like that defensive line a lot, and the fact that they can rotate those guys in. They're finally healthy. Jordan Davis is back. Dominican Sue is playing well. Linval Joseph. Those guys are playing tough ball. Everybody's confident too right now. So that's what I look at more than anything else.
We got Cam.
It's not ways around the Eagles defense.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is.
You just said that like it was just one way.
No, I said it. It opposite of what he was saying.
No, I got you. I'm just messing with you. Man, I would actually be. I'm all for a black Super Bowl, man. Jalen Hurts versus.
That's what I was thinking.
Versus Patrick Mahomes. That shit was dope. That's why I hate that got put out. I would have loved to have seen 2 black quarterbacks in this round playing against each other. I thought that would have been really, really dope. And a lot of progress,
the black
man.
Super Bowl. We're going to get that one of these days.
Yeah. So it could happen this year, except I don't think it is. I'm going with Glock Purdy, man.
Oh, my God.
I'm going with Glock Purdy.
You choosing the white man?
Look, I went black last year. Look what it got me. Last week. I started to pick Glock last week, but I was like, no, I'm going to go black. I'm going to bet on black. I will be leading right now. I'll be 8-2. Yeah. Winning. And that. So, so yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with Glock on this one, man. I think if he is able to hold on in the first half, because I know the Eagles lead the league in sacks. I like his confidence in that second half. So yeah, give me Glock, bro.
You got Lou.
49ers by 10.
God damn.
Wow. I've been waiting on this game all season to see Jalen Hurts play a formidable foe. I cannot wait to see how he looks against his 49er defense.
You are a natural born hater.
I can't wait to come in here the Monday, Tuesday after and looking at Sheldon's face after they've got demolished by the 49ers.
You have a 49ers hat on.
Man, I can't wait to see Sheldon rooting for the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So absolutely, 49ers by 10.
That means the Eagles gonna win now.
I know this. I felt good.
Damn.
I'm going with the better quarterback. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. I'm going with the Eagles. I think I'll say this. If they lose Sheldon, you can't say nothing about him not being healthy because he looked healthy as hell in this past.
Yeah.
He good.
All that shit he was trying to fence it.
I was not trying to fence it. I was not.
Definitely.
Y'all saw it all week. Y'all didn't see it.
No, we didn't see that, bro.
If Jalen Hurts,
real quick, Kyle, hold on.
Uh-huh.
When Shelton said it, I Googled it, and they said that he was healthy.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kyle.
Kyle, what was the talk all week about Jalen Hurts last week? What was the only reason people was picking the Giants?
Well, to be honest, y'all, I ain't seen nobody pick the Giants. I ain't even picked the Giants, and I'm a fan. Like, I don't know why Nick picked them. The Giants weren't gonna win.
I'm a true fan.
I'm a true fan, man. I bleed blue, bro. But I'm a little bit. I got a little bit of sense, Nick. You don't. You. So nah. I mean, that was the narrative. His shoulder, but Jalen Hurts is fine. I'm not. His shoulder is not a factor in this game. I think the thing that is interesting is that I didn't even think about what you guys just said. Is that I think Brock Purdy saw the best defense that he's ever going to see. He saw the best defense last weekend. And that's got to be.
You think the Cowboys defense is better than this Eagles?
Hell yeah. And
you think Brock Purdy can face a defense as good, if not a little bit lesser than the Cowboys back-to-back weeks?
I mean, no, don't get me wrong, Nick. It's not like I'm saying that the Eagles defense is chopped liver, but I think the Cowboys defense is particularly their front seven is better than what he's going to see this weekend.
The Eagles almost broke the NFL record in sacks.
Hey man, listen. I'm just going by what I see. I think that the Cowboys defense, when you deal with the Eagles, don't have a Micah Parsons. They do it by a committee. But I'll say this much: I think having played against that type of defense, I think that prepares Purdy for what he can do or what he can't do, and they'll be able to scheme. And then another thing too that is going to work in his favor is that in the Eagles' favor is that they got film on Purdy now. Purdy the first couple of games. That's how we see some quarterbacks excel sometimes because teams don't have film them. But they got film and they got tendencies, and I think the Eagles will prevail. But I think it's going to be a close game. I don't see anybody winning.
I actually think it's important for the 49ers to get the lead early because that settles down Purdy where he doesn't necessarily have to feel like he has to win the game for him.
Yeah.
If they can get a comfortable lead, and by comfortable, 10 points or whatever, if they can get a comfortable lead and he can play from ahead, I think that almost helps Purdy in that situation because, you get down 7, 10, 13 points in that environment, Philly's rocking, the Eagles are flying, they teeing off on the quarterback. I think that could put a young quarterback in a really iffy situation. So I think it's important for the 49ers to get a lead early in that game.
Yeah, I think as long as you don't get down by double digits, 10, 14 points, because at that point, the scheme starts to change. Your play calling starts to change. Some coaches tend to panic a little bit. Turnovers are going to be a key, and then third downs. That's something that we saw last week. Third downs is if you can't get that defense off the field on third downs, it's going to be a problem.
And that's what I was going to say. That's why I said, the Dallas pressure was good, but once again, when you got pressure coming from all angles, and because you sacked by committee like that, and you got 4 players with 10 plus sacks, you don't know where the pressure is coming from. So that's the scary thing. And then you got those cornerbacks. You got those corners. Dallas corners can't touch those guys. So it's kind of like, what do you do? That window's not there right away. You're not gonna have that avenue to just put the ball anywhere you want to.
We'll see. Manny, moving on to the next game. Bengals at Chiefs. Rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, which was I guess it was a classic. At least to me it was. I don't know, they might give a fuck. Who you got?
So KC's favored by +2.5 at home. I actually have the Bengals, man. The only thing that concerns me about that pick is that the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs the last 3 times. So law of averages will tell you the Chiefs will figure out a way to win this game. But I just think the Bengals are the better team right now. I think the Bengals are the best team in the AFC. I think they've consistently proven it. They went on the road and beat Buffalo, beat them down. And I just think they match up really well against Kansas City. I think they're confident. I think they're not intimidated by Patrick Mahomes. I think they're one of the few teams that are actually not intimidated by Patrick Mahomes, and I think they're going to play well. I think Joe Burrow will figure out a way to get the ball out. Burrow's that, we were talking about his comparison as far as who he is and whatever. And I brought up Troy Aikman, and I didn't mean talent. He's Troy Aikman, but what Troy Aikman did was Troy Aikman just did his fucking job. Like he got the ball to Irvin. He got the ball to Alvin Harper. He got the ball to Novacek. He ran the offense. And that's what Burrow does. He doesn't overwhelm the game. He runs the offense. He does what he needs to do. And then when they need him to step up, he's proven that he can step up. So I just think the Bengals have more ways of beating you than I think the Chiefs do. I think the Chiefs have to have a big time game by Patrick Mahomes to beat you. And I just don't know if they're going to get that under the circumstances with his injury. I just think I think the Bengals just have more ways of beating you. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati. It'll be a close game though.
What about you, Kyle?
Same. Cincinnati by 3. I think the biggest key to this game is going to be third down conversions. Burrow does a really good job of converting third downs. And you said it earlier, Nick, and somebody else said it. The Chiefs don't have a great defense. So if you keep those guys on the field, you know, not only you're turning the stick and you're turning the clock, but you're keeping Mahomes on the sideline. And that's the easiest and the best way to beat Patrick Mahomes. Don't keep him, don't let him hit the field. If you can keep the ball away from him, you can manufacture points, you're going to win 9 times out of 10. I like the Bengals by 3.
FIFA.
What I want to happen, what I think is going to happen is 2 completely different things, right? Like I really want Mahomes to get to another Super Bowl, really compete for another one. But I honestly think that where the Bengals are right now, the type of football they're playing, I think that they can go to Arrowhead and beat them boys. And it's not enough Patty magic, you know what I'm saying, with a bump ankle to overcome, I think, the overall better team, you know, because I think weaponry, I think the Bengals have more. I think defensively, I think they're deeper. You know, I think if we're looking at the top corner, you know, L'Jarius versus Awuzie, okay, maybe about the same. You know, Chris Jones is probably the best defender on either roster. But then after that, it's comparable, but Bengals got more guys.
Mm-hmm.
So my heart tells me to pick Patty and the boys, but my head's telling me to pick the Bengals, so I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think the Bengals win probably by 7 or 10 points. I just think and I want to be proven wrong, obviously. I really want to see the Patty magic, but I just think that he's not going to be able to make that extra, like, what the hell play. Like, and you're going to need that against this team. And if he was healthy, I would 100% go with the Chiefs. But him not being healthy, I just don't see it.
We got
100% agree, FIFA. I think it's 27-17 Bengals, and 100% the fact of his I think the ankle injury is more than we can imagine. I think that we're discrediting the fact that he's as hurt as he is. He's injured.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's injured.
And I don't think it's just
it almost looked like a similar fall that happened to Tony Pollard, where he got
very similar.
His ankle or his leg broken. It looked the same way with the way it rolled.
It was. And shooting him up is not going to make the difference. I mean, we're talking about a player that, you know,
he needs to move.
Right. And it's not going to be that simple. It's not going to be that easy.
He does with what he has. But if he still had Reek, if he had more, like just exchanging the quarterbacks, say for the outside weaponry, Chase, Higgins, then it's different. That he can sit in the pocket more. He doesn't have to do as much. But with the way that this offense is, they're at their best when he moves. Can he put up points and can he keep it close? Yes, but it's not going to be enough to overcome it. Like, I'm so frustrated for him.
What you got, Ken?
Chiefs are going to win this game. Mahomes wanted this matchup. He had it circled. And I think that he's ready. He knows he's 0-3 against Burrow. And, and I think they're going to be ready, man. I think this is personal for him. And I think he's going to find a way to deal with that injury and play with it and at a high enough level to get the win.
What's interesting you say that, because I've never seen Patty that frustrated or upset in a game. Then when he had his high ankle sprain, it was like Reed was like, I don't know.
He cussed Andy Reid out, bro.
He wanted to cuss. He's like, bro, I'm not getting off this game. Andy Reid, to my surprise,
he
was like
saying, "Fuck no."
Yeah, yes. To my surprise, we're going with Chad Henne. When the last time you would think Andy Reid would say, "Yeah, we're going with Chad Henne over Patrick Mahomes"?
And not only that, he put Mahomes went back in the game, and then he eventually took him out. But he eventually got his way. But yeah,
I was just saying that because it's like with Patty, this is just we've never seen him like this before, and this is where it's going to be like he's going to get judged a lot based off of this performance. If that's fair or foul, he's going to get judged a lot for this performance.
If he wins, he'll be seen in high regard. If he loses, the excuse is already there.
But I was like, you think this is personal for Patty?
I absolutely.
Oh yeah, 100%. You think?
Yeah.
Look. When you have what Patty has, right? And that's just that extra sauce. Yes, this is personal. Y'all the ones that beat me
last year.
Last year.
Yeah,
y'all lost the Super Bowl. I feel like I could have beat them dudes if I would have made. No, this is extremely. Look, everything that you saw about him not wanting to leave that last game, he's about to leave. Whatever he tweeted about it. He's gonna leave it on that field, bro.
After the game, he even put out a tweet. He even tweeted.
Absolutely. That asshole shit that we see in Jordan, that asshole stuff that we see in Brady. That's exactly what Patrick Mahomes feels about this game. Yep. I was all ready to pick the Bengals until I heard all of y'all saying about So I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes. I can't pick against greatness, man. I would have to see him lose.
You've seen it. I don't know. This is the disrespect that I'm talking about. This is the disrespect I'm talking about because niggas talk like this shit has never happened before. Like we're talking about, we've never seen Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We never seen like Josh Allen or Joe Burrow.
Remember how great Josh Allen was 2 years
ago.
But
he can't remember the hot L that was on national TV. The only game left of the AFC. He threw a pick to end the game. Yeah,
that's how good Patrick Mahomes is. Give me the Chiefs close game by 3. I just think it's personal, like Ken said. I think it's personal. I think he's gonna go out there and prove to us why he is the best football player in the NFL.
All 3 games the Bengals have won have been decided by 3 points. At least the possession, but I think it's definitely 3 points. I do think this will actually be a somewhat of a high-scoring game. Mm-hmm. I have the Bengals 31, and I have the Chiefs 27.
Okay.
So I got a little bit. I think it's going to come down to actually a Patty Mahomes final drive that's not going to go. Because, again, I keep talking about this defense. This defense has rookies, vets that you're not aware of, underrated stars that you're not aware of. And we talk about injuries with the Bills. There's been you talked about Woozier, FIFA. We haven't had Woozier since Denver earlier this season. He's been out. He tore his ACL, MCL. So we have. I brought the rookie for Gabe Davis because he's been playing playoff minutes, playoff moments, and he was getting picked on by Josh Allen, and then he got picked by Josh Allen. So it's like we are doing the best that we can with our talent too. So it's not and most of the talent that we have, not all of it that people care about has been drafted too. That's one thing I want to talk about. I emphasize all this stuff because these are things that they're not talking about when they talk about Cincinnati. So I'm confident the Bengals could win this game. But would I be surprised if Patty win? No. But with this injury, this is Burrow's time to win. I don't think it's going to be any better time to win than right now. Right. Now, we could talk about the NFC when the NFC gets there as far as the Super Bowl. But right now, this is a huge task that we have in hand on the road again. It's going to be cold as shit in Kansas City. I think it's going to be like 12 degrees or under 20 degrees, something like that. But, yeah, I got the Bengals in that, of course.
I think the Bengals definitely going to run the ball a lot, too.
That's their best. When they're balanced, that's when they play the best.
That helped them a lot against the Bills. Mm-hmm. To be able to run the ball.
They didn't expect that. I think they were expecting the pass. I mean, you saw how Burrow pump faked them for that open touchdown to Hurst. I think everybody's expecting the pass, but you got to run. You got to run.
Super chat. Eric Jones says the line is Bengals +2. Bengals are favorite to win.
That line keep changing.
Must have changed.
Yeah, it'll change between now and then too.
It was Chiefs by 3.
Yep, change fast. Yep.
What they're saying, basically, Vegas is telling you it's a pick'em game.
Right.
That's basically what they're telling you.
Don't bet the house, Nick.
You said what?
Don't bet the house.
Hey, we got a couple condos on it.
Okay.
Anybody have any? Because before I get to the super chats, anybody have any thoughts on this whole Ed Reed thing? I only mention it because it seemed to be just big news or extending in the cycle a lot.
Man, fuck Ed Reed. Yes. I had a long time to think about it because I thought the same thing. I had the same reaction. I was like, wow, who said that? Bruh, you don't do that shit, bruh. You don't do that shit. Not to a HBCU.
Not at all.
That's disrespectful as fuck. And I'm glad they fired his ass.
The time is that means.
But I'll let y'all talk. But for me, it's man, fuck Ed Reed.
No, wait, no.
Damn, fuck Ed Reed.
What do you mean you don't do that to an HBCU?
I can explain.
Was he not? correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if anybody knows this information. Was he not a consultant for Bethune-Cookman for like 3 seasons with that football team or with that or with university?
No,
I read that somewhere.
no, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
No.
I've never heard that because he was a consultant for the University of Miami.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? He should have been familiar.
Yes, and if anything, that's still fuck Ed Reed because it's like HBCUs ain't got those resources, bro. Like a Miami, for example, where you come from.
Professionalism resources, like keeping stuff clean. Like my office. Like if you're hiring somebody and you're trying to get me to come work here just to make sure the space is clean. They don't got those type of resources.
Why do you need to know that?
Correct. Why would okay, good question. Why wouldn't I be able to hold them accountable for that if the expectation of me going into this like the same thing that Dion or any other school would have?
You can.
I'm Ed Reed.
You can hold them accountable, but as you, because you're a fellow member of HBCU, you're an alumnus. So is 12 Kyle.
TSU, shout out TSU.
They'll tell you, anybody that's been to an HBCU knows that we teach each other. You too. They teach you to keep what we do here is our business. Yeah. Our business ain't for them out there. So whatever we got going on here, we deal with it here. And everybody who's been to one know we got a bunch of problems. We do. We got a bunch of things to work on. Yeah. But we deal with it in-house. We don't make a social media post, or like he say, you don't put it on social network. That's what he said.
So this I'm gonna quote Kyle here though. Ed Reed ain't swag. He don't know that. He don't know that, bro. It's PWI. His expectations are different. And then I'm not saying that it's okay for him to go send them through the wire on social media, but he doesn't know that. So who told him that? Did Dion tell him that?
He said he talked to Dion before that.
Did Dion tell him don't get on social media yelling about how our stuff supposed to look?
Kyle raising his hand.
Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
I mean, ultimately, man, and like Sheldon, me and Sheldon went to school together. Ed Reed should know better. He should know better. Now, what he said needed to be said, I guess, and he chose that platform to put it out. But you cannot talk trash about your employer before you even sign your contract. There's none of us here that work for somebody else that can go tomorrow on Twitter and bash our employer and still expect to keep our jobs. There's nobody listening that can do that. And Ed Reed had not even signed his contract. Even if he said what he said a month after he got in his contract, he might not have gotten fired. But bro, the ink ain't even dry on your contract. Now again, what he said probably needed to be said, but maybe he should have said it behind closed doors. To Sheldon's point, sometimes you can't get everybody in our business. You remember when we was growing up, your mama say, "What happens in our house stays in our house." That's how HBCUs work. And a lot of HBCUs, we operate under the premise of we're Wakanda, and we don't allow people from the outside in. And if we let you in, then you cool. But Ed Reed is an outsider. He went to UM. He's not one of us. He's not. Dion is not one of us. And so HBCUs have to be very careful about bringing people in who are not one of us. And that's not to say that they shouldn't be held accountable for what is or isn't happening on that campus. Because, if you listen to the reports, a lot of bad stuff is happening on that campus. But that stuff needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed the right way. And there's a different way of going about it. And Ed went about it the wrong way. And, he kicked them on the way out the door. And then yesterday he's on TV, crying and stuff, trying to get the job back. It don't work like that. Even if they wanted to give him back the job, they're not going to do it just to save face. So it's unfortunate. And I mean, it's an L for Ed Reed, and it's an L for Bethune-Cookman, and it's an L for the school and the students that are there.
But I feel like they're hiring these guys to change the face of the program, what the expectation is of the program. And I think that you got to take the good, bad, and the ugly with it, because I understand
the good, bad, and the ugly.
100%. If you're going to look, bro, we have never talked about HBCUs before. Have we? As long as I've been on this teleclass.
I'm pretty sure we have at one point.
We have. Well, we have because I'm on here. So I'm an alum.
Coaching, not because of the changing of the guard, Ken. We haven't talked about HBCUs like that.
Yeah, we talked about it because we had the con artist went there and made us talk about it.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm saying I say.
What do you mean by good? Why'd you call him out on good, bad, and ugly?
Because how disrespectful is it for the head coach of the football team to post that ignorant video? Because if we want to talk about criticism, Eddie George did it way better than Ed Reed.
Yeah,
and he could have took that. He could have took that approach. But to us excuse Ed Reed because he Ed Reed, that's the only reason why y'all saying good, bad, ugly.
How we
if
know
there was
Ed
any
Reed
other coach, we would be like, that nigga should have been fired and move on to this. They fuck him. But because it's Ed Reed, we gotta have some cachet. A nigga who ain't never coached or had a head coaching position. Am I correct on that, Kyle? Has he ever had a head coach?
Facts.
But
Never.
And that was the point of even bringing him on and hiring him. And how do you know that Ed Reed hasn't been making these same complaints behind the scenes?
How do we know he's good enough to complain?
We don't.
Hey, Spike, I don't think he's been there long enough to complain, to be honest.
That's kind of irrelevant, though.
Really, based on what
trial.
I just think that's irrelevant.
He was a free trial for Bethune-Cookman, couldn't last 30 days. And you expect me to think he's gonna be some leader that's gonna change the program around? Fuck him. Get out of here, bro.
What you gonna say,
you listen to Baltimore, but you ain't shit to Bethune-Cookman, clearly.
So I think two things can be correct at the same time. I think Ed Reed is wrong. Like, he was wrong and he deserved to be fired. Because like Kyle said, you can't. That's like one of us talking shit about Ken tomorrow by fuck Ken, that ain't shit, and then we expect to be put on the air the next week. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. So you can't talk about your employer. But I also don't think that Bethune-Cookman should be let off the hook, because I think that the problems that ignorantly Ed Reed tried to highlight are real problems, and I think it speaks to an issue there at that school. Now, listen, I don't want to speak about Bethune-Cookman because I don't go there. I've never gone there. I don't know what those issues are. That being said, that man's complaint shouldn't be underscored. Now, listen, what he did was stupid and it was ignorant. And yes, it should have been kept behind closed doors. But Bethune-Cookman has a $48 million endowment. You mean to tell me you can't get rid of mold and you can't have this man's office cleaned up a little bit so that, you know, it could be, because if this was Florida and Urban Meyer was about to take over, that office would be clean. These issues would be addressed. Like we need to start holding these institutions to the same standard, regardless if you're black, white. I think that those institutions should be held to the same standard. Now, that doesn't mean that what Ed Reed did was right. That doesn't mean that, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that those two things are both exist in parallel and both can be correct. That's all I'm saying.
But you can't, because they don't get the same. Like there's literally lawsuits with the federal government.
You're saying it's a funding issue. You're saying it's a funding issue. Ed Reed is not talking about a stadium being built, or he's not talking about a facility. He's talking about an office being clean, an issue of cleanliness and hygiene. Like,
but he's talking about
the
whole college is dealing with, like, it's not just the sports athletics that are dealing with this stuff. It's the whole college itself. It's bigger than football.
Yeah,
he's highlighting a specific area where they're failing, of course. But again, what does that do? What did he do that helped them?
He didn't do anything.
What he did was he created. There was a hole, and he created a bigger hole. And here's the problem that I have with all of this is that, just like with Dion, once the cameras go away. Because like FIFO said, we're talking about it today. We won't be talking a month from now. We'll be talking about the Super Bowl. We'll be talking about NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll be talking about everything. We're not going to probably ever talk about Bethune-Cookman again on this podcast. The problem is that there's students that are involved. There's an institution that has issues that they have to fix. And I don't necessarily know that Ed Reed or the interim president who's gone on social media and done interviews and stuff like that, he hasn't helped them at all.
No.
The fallout from this is that what's going to happen is there's students, high school students right now in the state of Florida that are high school seniors and juniors. They have to make college decisions in the next year and 2 years. And what's going to happen is when Bethune-Cookman comes up on their radar, they're going to say, I'm not going there. Why would I go there?
Yeah, I'm not going
there. And so what happens is Bethune-Cookman, who's a private school that doesn't get the same funding as everybody else, that 3,500 student enrollment is going to go to 1,500. Then you got a bigger problem. So it's layers of it. And the thing about it is when it goes to 1,500, we're going to be looking at like, well, why won't the alumni just give back? There's layers and layers of stuff, and it's systematic, and it's more than what you can put in a tweet. It's more than what you can say on a podcast. It's years and years of this. And it's not something that can be done just because you hired somebody who played in the NFL. I promise you, for as great as Deion is, as great as Ed Reed are, these are systematic issues that can't be solved just on a football field, on a basketball court.
Right. These are systematic issues that are being paid attention to. And that was greatly put. But they're being paid attention to now because these people spoke up versus kicking Ed Reed to the curb. And I'm not saying what he did is right. It absolutely was wrong. However, completely dissolving that situation, dissolving their relationship. Now, just like Cal said, people will move on. Nobody will pay attention to this more. Bethune-Cookman and Ed Reed could work together to figure out the problems versus finger pointing and blaming.
They could have worked together beforehand.
They could have, but they didn't. But
no, he didn't.
Right, but firing Ed Reed and removing yourself from that situation, I don't think answers the question, because you still got kids outside protesting saying, "Yeah, we got mold in our dorm rooms." He was right. He may have went about it the wrong way, but the problem still persists.
If you had an On Deck TV studio, right, and some nigga that you hired to run your shit went on IG Live talking about, bro, they got it dirty as hell here. Are you building with that nigga the next day, or he fired?
If he Ed Reed and he Hall of Fame status, wait, that's what I'm saying. Ain't just some Joe Blow off the street. This is somebody with pedigree. You brought him in for a reason. So, okay, there's a hiccup. We had a problem. Let's figure it out. Let's continue to use the platform that you have, that you've built up, the cachet that you have.
What is he done to say that? He is the Joe Blow as a head coach.
He hasn't done anything, but you're not giving him opportunity.
But that's irrelevant.
To kick him out for making a big mistake.
It was multiple videos that caused him spike. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And to Nick's point,
it was the same stance though.
But here's the thing though, Spike. The thing is that when he had a chance to rectify it, he didn't. Even in the last quote unquote video that he put up, the IG Live, he was bashing them on his way out the door, and that was Saturday. IG Live, everybody's tuning in, and so even if you say, you know what, oh my bad, if you come back Monday, say, hey, I was emotional, I was feeling it, blah 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 blah. And while I get his passion, that's not the way that you go about handling business, man.
Now,
there's no way that all of this stuff that happened with Ed Reed, there's nobody that can tell me that Ed Reed would have done this if he was the head coach of the University of Central Florida.
True.
No way.
The one thing I will say, none of us have been in those negotiation rooms, because remember, this contract negotiation has been going on for a while now. So like I think they announced that they were hiring, or they agreed in principle on the 27th of December, something like that. So it's almost a month later and they still haven't ratified that contract. So there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I don't even think any of us were even really privy to.
Money.
That's what it was.
That's what it was, bro.
Y'all want me to work for free in this?
But what I'm saying is,
come on, y'all can't even clean up. Y'all ain't even.
Y'all niggas wilding, boy. No, but what I'm saying is there was a lot of issues. There was a lot of arm pulling, a lot of hand wringing that was going on with this issue. So obviously this was a point of contention from a while back. So we don't know what was agreed upon. Maybe Ed Reed said, okay, I'll take the job, but y'all really need to address this. And maybe they said they would address it. Now all of a sudden things change. Terms of deals change. All of a sudden now that commitment isn't being met. So we don't, not to absolve Ed Reed, because the way he handled it was incredibly stupid. And like you said, Kyle, doubling down on your mistake. It's one thing to fuck up and make an error, but to double down on the way out.
So two videos out.
He should have been there with somebody from like Bethune-Cookman and Ed Reed should have been able to figure out how to work this together.
I agree with you.
Present this to the public. Like they've been going back and forth. Having the Ben Crump knockoff right there and him quoting the bylaws and shit, like, bro, get out of here. All of that was wrong. But they shouldn't be fighting like this a month, like on social media. And
they both losing. They both looking like
everybody loses. And ultimately the kids lose. And that's unfortunate because Bethune-Cookman, it shouldn't be losing at this point. They're clearly issues, but I'm gonna be honest, every school has issues. So it's about the kids. If you either gonna make it about yourself or you're gonna make it about the kids. And it's been about everything but the kids at this point. And then you have people chiming in who don't know anything about what's really going on.
Yeah, University of South Carolina. I just did a Google search. They had mold at one point. This was recent. It was a couple of years ago. We didn't know about it though. Yeah, but yeah, Ed Reed, that CTE was kicking, bro. he was going off. Got some super chats. I'll get through these real quick. Shout out to everybody that sent them in. Prodigy, and I got the members too. For whatever reason I couldn't star them in here, so I'll read those too. Prodigy, draft a QB, develop him, and let Dak walk.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
Who are you drafting? Because they ain't gonna have no top
Nah.
Ask the Jets. It's not as easy as it sounds.
I'll take that.
Okay. Devontae Clayton joined late. Sorry if y'all already covered this. Thoughts on how they made Shannon Sharp apologize to damn near everybody, including you and me.
Wow. I know you. I feel like when I seen this, I was like, FIFA want to talk about this.
I was gonna ask if we was gonna talk about it. I saw it live. You know what I'm saying? This was actually a pretty interesting moment because it was me and my son was watching the game. As young as he is, he actually watches TV, so it's crazy. We was watching the game, so I saw it happen in real time, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" I think it was just overall the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Because he
to apologize.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I think a lot of what he said was very sincere. Like, let's understand that Shannon Sharp is one of the biggest shit talkers in football history, next to Dion. You know, and Dion didn't even really talk like that, but like next to Ray Lewis, like, you know, there's a lot of guys that Richard Sherman that carry that belt, and he carried that belt for a very long time. So I can understand the Hall of Famer competitor in him talking some shit, especially because arguably his favorite player is LeBron, and Dylan Brooks is like, nah, bro, you too small, and. You know what I'm saying?
Which is hilarious.
Just think about that for a second.
So you see Steven Adams and he's
Steven Adams was. Hey, look, ain't nobody want the smoke except for Steven Adams, and Steven Adams could, you know.
Hey, look, anytime a white man is confident enough to call y'all some damn monkeys, y'all remember that?
Yeah,
remember he said it was they look like little monkeys running around here. Then you don't want to fuck with him,
man.
They held Steven Adams back one finger. Don't be getting that man all that credit.
But look, I think that, you know, the moment got the best of him. It's Shannon Sharp, which is why he's not going to kick. If I do that, it's a wrap for me, dog. I'm out of there. But that's Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? Hall of Fame tight end. But I do think that the apology was sincere, and I think it was the right thing to do. Now, I don't feel if he didn't do it that he would be in the wrong. Because shit, we're like, bro, I could talk to. I'm on the floor.
I bought you seats.
Yeah, I could talk.
I know who I am.
That's why I don't feel like he needed to apologize.
Yeah.
And also,
I think the apology was a shot at Skip, because we saw Skip put that tweet out there, and he went up there and walked all the way around an apology and looked like a complete asshole by not apologizing. I think that during these times in the contention that he and Skip have had over the last couple of weeks, he went out there to try to look like the better man. And apologizing, and also to show that I'm not Skip Bayless. Like, I can make a mistake, and I can go out there and be like, you know what, my bad. Because he did a lot.
That man has somebody stand over his shoulder the whole time.
Nah, that ain't
Yes.
It wasn't that serious.
Thank you,
Cameraman. It might have been Ernestine.
It wasn't that serious.
You know what I meant Shannon on, though. I think it's very underrated that people aren't talking about it. Shannon never stepped on the court.
He did.
He was out of bounds. He was in his seat. No, because the reason why I'm bringing that up is because people are talking about him
interfering with the game.
You know what I'm saying? And he was within his bounds.
That's why I said, why did he need to apologize? He didn't get on the
public figure, bro.
Yeah.
So there's,
I can't
it's
be
a bad look.
He telling you what happened, bro.
He had no choice.
I can't be beefing with Dylan Brooks, bro. I'm Shannon Sharp.
Who the fuck is Dylan Brooks?
Exactly. So why am I on 10 with this nigga in the
Why is
middle of
Dylan
the
Brooks?
Lakers game?
Why is Dylan Brooks not focused on the game?
What did he tell Skip?
Who?
Shannon Sharp. He
When?
told Skip, he said, they was on you. They made you. They came at you. So, of course, they came at him, too. Twice as hard.
Yeah,
Of course they did. The powers that be said, you need to go ahead and get it. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to get it prepared. Here it is right here. It is right here.
They don't care
Because
about
my
Dylan
thing is
Brooks.
this:
Yes,
is like
they do. The
this,
powers that be care about all of
he
it.
didn't fight. He didn't do anything to where I feel, and it's off to me. It's off the clock. First of all, why does he have to apologize?
You still represent a billion-dollar media conglomerate. You still represent a billion-dollar media conglomerate. Listen, from a real nigga perspective, Shannon didn't need to apologize. He stood on his sword. If a nigga gonna talk shit to you, you gonna stand your ground and defend your respect.
And if anything,
that's from a real nigga street perspective.
That's why I think it was
did Fox not benefit from that?
From a corporate America perspective, from a suit and tie perspective.
I can't hear Manny. I can't hear Manny.
Nick, from a real nigga's perspective, you are correct. From a corporate America perspective, from a suit and tie perspective, when you're backed and paid by a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate, he needed to apologize because whether we like it or not, he represents the media now. And what you had was one of your highest paid media personalities getting into a fight on a sport that technically the Fox doesn't even have or cover with athletes on a court. It's just a bad look. Did he need to apologize? No, but did he apologize? And was he right for apologizing? Yes. So it is what it is.
And what do you call him? A pedestrian? A pedestrian would have got kicked out for less than that. And the thing about it is, the type of apology I would have gave, I'd have been like, my bad to the kids that had to see me acting like that. I'm sorry, y'all. I shouldn't have done all that. That would have been the end of my apology. Yeah, this guy went down the list. Like I said, he named the people that cleaned the bathroom. I promise you I heard my name. I'm like, he apologized to me.
Hey, Kyle, did you rewatch it? Did it seem like he was reading something to you?
You know what, Ken? I did go back and rewatch it. It looked like he had some points or whatever like that. Some people specifically. He didn't look like he was reading off of a teleprompter. He probably had some names and people that he wanted to touch. But he, much like Sheldon, I'm like, I didn't have a problem with the apology because he is a public figure, and he did admit that he was wilding out. But he didn't have to apologize. I mean, he apologized to Kobe, he apologized to the statue outside. Yeah, he apologized. I mean, he was apologizing to Kurt Rand. I mean, like everybody that it wasn't really necessary. But I think the Shannon showed that he was the bigger man. I much like FIFA, I saw it live and I was like, yo, what is he doing? Like it's not a good look. And Shannon is he was in a moment he lost it, and fortunately it didn't get ugly because it could have. I mean, if somebody could have thrown a punch. If somebody threw a punch, then all hell's gonna break loose because ain't nobody gonna stop Shannon at that point. So
he got CTE.
Yeah. Hey, it probably scared the shit out of Skip though. Seeing a black man lose it like that, bro.
That's right across your desk.
Yeah. He been getting into it with him too, man.
Hey, that cardigan is fire though. I will say that.
Yeah, they pulled out the whips for Shannon. They made So yeah, that's the white man. They always gonna do the black folks like that. Y'all always gonna have to do more than the white man. I just make sure everybody paying attention to that. That's my contribution. Vibes and stuff. Hurts got to be showed to the son the way he defends him.
He might be.
Yes, sir.
Josh Bros, I love Joe Burrow, but the narrative that he protects the ball and Mahomes doesn't is factually incorrect. Burrows has more interceptions than Patty the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Igwe of Art. Here goes Shelton Whitlock hating on Lamar again.
I don't know who Sheldon is. Igwe. I don't know who that is.
Sheldon.
What that
Sheldon, not Shelton.
I don't know who that is, but thank you for your $2.
It's Shelton.
Josh Rose. Allen is as overrated as they come, but anyone with eyes that work couldn't say him and Dak are the same. All right. Eric Jones, Burrow, Hurts, Herbert, Jones, Tua do this year. Damn. That's
yeah, all of them would do.
Antoine 721. That's a new name. I appreciate it. All this talk about Burrow, and he's never thrown for 300 yards in a playoff game in his career yet. He's the new Brady.
He's gotten to a Super Bowl,
and he gets all the credit.
Yeah, so 300 yards in the playoffs.
He's gotten
to a Super Bowl, bro.
He'll throw for 300. He'll throw for 300 this weekend.
Game, right?
The Tennessee game.
Oh, the Tennessee
When he
game.
didn't throw a touchdown.
He could throw for 90 yards. He's gotten to a Super Bowl though.
Yeah. Wu Young, Dak is Derek Carr, Cousins tier. Damn.
I agree with that.
That's pretty close.
That's
He's in
tough.
that second level.
Bro.
He's the head of the second level.
It's the same thing.
Is it the second level or the third level?
It's the same thing.
That's what I say about Josh Allen and Dak Prescott. But
Derek Carr not getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it don't look the same.
Dak is the best of the mid-majors.
That offense is
Oh,
loaded.
okay.
That's arguably the best back.
Dak is
the best
Boise
back,
State in
the best
2009.
football they had.
Eric Jones, people hype Burrow to look at the team around him. Only compared to Philly, San Francisco. Let's be honest. Mahomes, Lamar don't have the team around him and perform.
They drafted these niggas, so we penalizing the team for drafting. Philly bought their team. And we penalizing the Bengals for drafting they niggas. Who going into that game had a shitty offensive line, right? And the niggas they replaced it with outside of one of them is drafted.
And Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and
Hey, low key, that's a great point, Nick. Nobody talks about the fact that they replaced 3 offensive linemen for that particular game. That never happens in a game, and you have that kind of success. And they've ran up and down the field on Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying, bro. They don't want to just give us the credit to say like we're just the better team.
It's the weirdest thing. Go ahead, Shelton.
That's all I was gonna say is I was the biggest Burrow hater there was.
And the fact that I'm telling you, he's done things that I didn't think he could do, and he's done it time and time again. We're not gonna say
they move the goalposts every game.
They do. And the thing that I laud him for the most is he wins different ways too. And that's something that says something to me. No, he don't throw for 300 yards every game and win. He don't have to. The point of it is winning the game, making key plays when you need those plays. So yeah, you ain't got to give me 300 yards.
He also did this at LSU too, by the way.
Yeah,
won a national championship,
which is where I became a fan. BL Pat hosted 5 AFC championship games. Never been on the road in the playoffs. About to have 2 MVPs and 1 Super Bowl. No other QB has done that before 30.
God,
he's 27.
I think no team has hosted 5 title games, at least in the AFC, since Pat Mahomes started with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like hosted. Like there's been teams who've been in title games. Like
Donovan McNabb, I think, went to 5.
Yeah.
So he's used to this. This is what he does. You know, it's that he just Melanin Man. I got Cincy and Philly in the Super Bowl because Chase, Mixon, Hurts, AJ Sanders, and Dallas were on my fantasy team. And Manny, is it Pride Month already? Why you wearing that shirt?
Get him, Melanin Man.
Wow.
Hey, how'd y'all do last night, man? I see you didn't answer me either.
Listen, I cried my tears of sorrow on my 5 national championships, but you know it's all good.
There they go.
3 more. If Jokic averaged a triple-double, is he winning a 3rd straight MVP? And would it be fair given the standard the media has set the past 2 years?
They can't keep giving him MVPs, bro. They can't keep giving him MVPs if
he averaged a triple-double, they're gonna give it to him, bro.
He's gonna win. He's having the best. He's having a better statistical season this year than he had his other 2 MVP years. So
yeah,
they're gonna have to give it to him.
That would be crazy though. 3 MVPs and no rings.
Yeah,
that's gonna look real weird in history. Forget that's what I'm saying. Yeah, three. He would have 3 MVPs and he's probably not gonna make the finals. So he's not gonna have any rings. That's gonna look real weird in history, man. When we look back at it,
they got the best record in the East.
This feels very Steve Nashery.
Oh, even worse.
But if not him, they're gonna give it to Luka. I mean, that's just how they're gonna do it.
And standards, they've proven standards don't matter, FIFO. So they already did that experiment. So they'll probably give it to him. I mean,
they could give it to Tatum if we're going off of.
Yeah, but if you average a triple-double, bro, and he stays first in the West,
we already seen that with Russell Westbrook.
It don't matter, bro.
As well as Jaylen Brown is playing, it's kind of they're gonna take. I'm not saying I agree, but that's why they're gonna count it against Tatum.
I get you. They change the rules for the white boys.
They do.
All the time.
They do.
Hey, they did. Yeah, they do.
That's the bottom line.
Yep. Ken is a prime hater. SMH.
You ain't prime yet.
The last one, drink more water. The NBA All-Star game is changing their format. The All-Star captains will now pick their rosters live before the actual game. Do you like the change?
Yes. But they doing anything to get you to watch these games.
They just need to get rid of it, just like they did in the NFL.
I like it.
I like the changes that they made. I think this is a dope change too. But I think the biggest change was we're playing to a certain amount, not a time frame. You know what I'm saying? In the end,
they did that that's been in play.
I know, but the last 2.
That was one of the best All-Star games.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Of recent when they get close to doing it, I don't know, like how they picking them right here before the game.
Yeah,
you see the last person pick, the strategy involved in it. I like that.
Okay.
I like it.
2 more member comments from Rayshawn Davis and Ant-Man 27. Both members for 14 months. We appreciate it. Josh Allen is trash. Just from Rayshawn. Josh Allen is trash. Lamar is greater than Allen. And the last one, and I'm sorry I can't put this on the screen, but the last one is Ant-Man. He says Josh Allen is the Dame Lillard of the NFL.
Don't do Dame Lillard.
Don't disrespect Dame like that.
The boys have fallen off though. Blazers.
Yeah. Well, we knew that.
See him
Oh my gosh, man.
And that's it.
Crazy.
Yeah, Pat Bear.
That was fun.
What he call Pat Bear?
Con Man Lou off jumping around.
Oh yeah.
Con Man Skip.
Man, yeah, they said this was the Avengers that came through. Everybody came through.
When
tonight,
Josh Allen do shit, he was. That and Josh Allen.
All the black folks show up.
Yeah, man.
You made a
The
cameo.
Negro congregation had to show up.
Popped up with his little do-rag or whatever that thing was on
I
his
don't know
head.
what was on Q.
I don't know either, bro. It was an Eagles fan go crazy when they start winning.
Q was just watching this like, you know what? I'm getting on that.
But
Q
man,
was hand washing his hem clothes, and he was like, you know what? Fuck, I got some shit to say.
but yeah, man, good to hear from you, Manny. Definitely good to talk to you in person again, Kyle.
Oh, for sure, for
as
sure.
we can get. Yeah, good having y'all on, man. Love the contribution.
Definitely. I'll definitely be back, man. For sure. I told you I was gonna do it.
Absolutely, man.
Y'all should be back for the Super Bowl after the Super Bowl.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Let's make it happen.
Yep. So all right. Well, yeah. We had 240 show up tonight. That was crazy. So
Y'all hit that like button.
yeah, y'all brought an audience. But we thank everybody for showing up, man. We will definitely be back next Tuesday to recap the championship round. And oh boy, it's gonna be a lot talked about.
This may be the best postseason as far as matchup wise in a long
It
time.
is, man. This right here,
like from wild card going up to now.
And the narratives are so crazy. The storylines is what's exciting. I mean, it's just insane.
And these are two heavyweight matchups on each side based on how the season has gone this year.
It's like it's the number one versus number three. Number one versus number two.
And the number three was the number two. It was a better team. We know the better teams are here now. The teams that
all the four best teams
here,
rose to the crop.
Right.
Yep. All right, Rob, you can catch the replay, bro. Good to see you, man. We out. Peace.
5,000.